Chapter 539. The Autumn Frost Dao companion left with the group of itinerant cultivators. After that, he sent a message transmitting flying sword to the hollow void island in the endless sea. After that, his figure flashed and he left 7 Apricot City. He wanted to go to the Ning family in Hai Ning immediately to avoid meeting Yun Ruowei. Before he goes to the middle state, there were some questions that Ning Fan hoped to answer. His traveling light was extremely fast, traversing millions of miles in just a few moments. He passed through the realm-locking Grand Formation and appeared in the territory of the former Wu country. In Hai Ning city of Yu country, Ning Fan landed beside the Jade Pond River, which was as green as jade. There were a few fishing boats on the Jade Pond River. Some woodcutters came down from the Jibi Peak in the distance. They were all mortals and they were singing Wu songs. He had left Wu country for more than 50 years. When he heard the accent of his hometown, he felt a little nostalgic. There was once a mortal young man who carried a bamboo basket on his back. He walked past the Jade Pond River and entered Ning Bai Peak time and time again to pick herbs. In the Ning Bai Peak, that young man had saved Miss Qing of the Ning family and offended young Master Tian of the Ning family. In Hai Ning City, the young man was adopted by Ning Dainyu and spent 13 years with Ning Gu. The blood feud in Wu country had been avenged and Haining had become a memory. Young man, are you a foreigner who just came to Hai Ning? Are you lost? An old woodcutter asked enthusiastically when he saw Ning Fan's startled expression. Thank you, I know the way. He cupped his fists and bowed to woodcutter before turning around and walking towards Haining City. Hai Ning City had a 1,000-year history in the Wu country. The ancestor was named Ning Honghong. She took in many war orphans and established the Ning family. The reputation of the Ning family was quite good. Ordinary cultivation clans would rarely come into contact with mortals. The Ning family abided by the teachings of their ancestors and adopted some mortal orphans every year. In the past, Ning Fan was picked up by someone. When Ning Fan took revenge, he only killed Ning Tian and the others did not pursue the matter. In the end, it was because he felt grateful towards the Ning clan. Perhaps the Ning family did not treat him well, perhaps his foster father Ning Dainyu did not treat him and Ning Gu well, but the grace of raising them was a grace that could not be erased and could not be forgotten. He spread out his grand virtual realm divine sense to cover an area of 400,000 miles. Every single blade of grass and every single tree in Hai Ning's territory entered his eyes. None of them noticed that Ning Fan was inspecting them. In the temple of the Ning clan, the third ancestor of the Ning clan was respectfully receiving a lady. When Ning Fan saw her, he smiled faintly. That lady was none other than Yun Ruowei. Fortunately, Ning Fan was not late and would not have met her. Presumably, he would be able to get some answers after meeting her. He did not immediately look for Yun Ruowei. At this moment, she seemed to be asking Ning Fan's 3 ancestors about some important matters. He was very sensible and did not want to disturb her. He walked to the pine forest outside Haining City and sighed when he saw a cottage that had been abandoned for many years. This cottage was the place where Ning Fan and Ning Gu used to live in the past. However, after more than 50 years of neglect, it no longer existed. He took a step forward and appeared on Ning Bai Mountain. Stepping on the thick, withered leaves, he walked on the familiar yet strange mountain path. He had once followed this path and entered the deepest part of the Ning Bai Peak. He was not afraid of the wolves in the mountain and had collected many rare spiritual herbs. In the depths of the mountain, the wolf demons noticed Ning Fan walking past them. Each of them crouched on the ground and trembled in fear. Even the Wolf King, who had an early harmonious spirit realm cultivation base, crawled in front of Ning Fan and stuck out its tongue like a puppy, showing an extremely respectful look. It did not dare to disobey Ning Fan at all. Mortals might not know about Ning Fan's cultivation base, but these wolf demons could instinctively sense how terrifying he was. Ning Fan squatted down and patted the Wolf King's head. Then, he stroked its silver back and smiled faintly. Do you still remember me? Oh. The only response that Ning Fan got was the Wolf King's puppy-like howl. You don't remember me, but I still remember you. In the past, those few good-for-nothings wanted to peek at Miss Qing while she was bathing. I discovered them and they chased after me. I lured them to the depths of the mountain and it was you who ate them and helped me block a calamity. I have a bottle of Third Revolution pills here. After you consume it, you can condense your demon core as soon as possible and become a gold core realm demon wolf. Ning Fan took out a bottle of pills and passed it to the Wolf King. The Wolf King showed a human-like expression of excitement and snuggled on Ning Fan's lap like a puppy while barking happily. However, you have to promise me that you won't bite the mortals who enter the mountain to gather herbs. It's fine if they are cultivators. After all, if they enter the depths of the mountain, I'm sure they are already prepared to fight against all of you. Their life and death will be up to the heavens, The Wolf King promised Ning Fan. From then on, it would no longer harm any mortals. I'm leaving. Little fellow, could it be that you are a she-wolf? Why are you so clingy? Ning Fan patted the Wolf King's head and smiled faintly. Then, he turned around and left. The Wolf King howled bitterly. It was really a she-wolf. Ning Fan arrived at the extreme clarity pond of the Ningbai Peak. In the past, Miss Qing was prepared to bathe here. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's reminder, she would have already fallen into the devil's claws. Everything started from here. If I didn't save her with the intention to repay her kindness, I wouldn't have offended Ning Tian and I wouldn't have stepped onto the path of devil cultivation. However, I don't regret it. If I was afraid of those few young cultivators and didn't care about the safety of my benefactor, then I wouldn't be Ning Fan. The path that I have taken is my Tao. I will never regret it, Ning Fan muttered to himself while walking towards the extreme purity pool. Before he even got close to the edge of the pool, he already heard the sound of rippling water. Then, he saw a lady in a green dress sitting beside the extreme purity pool. Her embroidered shoes and stockings were taken off to one side and the hem of her dress was slightly lifted. She dipped her feet into the cool water of the pool and gently stirred the water. The lady looked at the extreme purity pool. Her eyes were filled with longing. There was a hint of gratitude in her longing, but there was also a hint of helplessness in her gratitude. If it wasn't because of him in the past, I would have been humiliated by the evil thieves at the edge of the extreme purity pool. When he was in trouble, I didn't know about it and I couldn't save him. Because of that, he was sold to the bandits and ended up in Yu country, stepping onto the path of devil cultivation. I owe him a favor, but I will never be able to repay him. This lady was the young lady of the Ning family, Ning Qingqing. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. He did not expect to meet this lady at this place and time. He could not help but sigh when he heard her words that revealed her true feelings. Who is it? Who's peeping? Ning Qingqing suddenly heard someone sigh. She jumped to her feet in alertness and took out her flying sword while scanning her surroundings with vigilance. It's me, Ning Fan. Ning Fan walked out of the sparse forest leaves and approached the extreme purity pool. Then, he smiled at Ning Qingqing. As soon as she saw that the person who came was actually Ning Fan, Ning Qingqing was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. Then, she wore a terrified expression and hurriedly greeted him. Ning Qingqing of the Ning family greets Marquis White Robe. Miss Qing, do you really want to be so distant with me? Don't you want to repay my favor? How do you want to repay me? Ning Fan teased her. His eyes purposely glanced at Ning Qingqing's bare feet. Ning Qingqing blushed. Knowing that she was being rude, she immediately put on her silk stockings and embroidered shoes. Inwardly, she felt a little helpless. Could it be that he heard everything I said to myself just now? She calmed herself down and lowered her head slightly. Then, she answered Ning Fan. Qing Heir's cultivation base is low. I know that I don't have the qualifications to repay Marquis White Robe's favor. It's impossible for me to help Marquis White Robe with anything. Just now, Qing Heir was just speaking nonsense in a secluded place. What I said can't be taken seriously. I hope Marquis White Robe won't be calculative with me. I won't be calculative with you. However, I really have something that I need your help with. I wonder if Miss Qing can bring me to Ning Daniu's grave to have a look. Ning Fan stopped smiling. His expression was a little sentimental. He could never forget the kindness of raising him up. No matter what happened in the past, Ning Daniu was still his benefactor. Even though there were graves for the servants of the Ning family to be buried in after they died, there was no tombstone for them to erect. It was very difficult for Ning Fan to find Ning Daniu's grave among the tens of thousands of desolate graves in the north of Haining City. Even though he asked this question, he did not really expect Ning Qingqing to know the answer. To his surprise, Ning Qingqing was only stunned for a moment. Then, she immediately agreed. Since Marquis White Robe has given his order, how would Qing Heir dare to disobey? I'll bring Marquis to Ning Daniu's grave right now. Oh. You actually know where a mortal's grave is? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. I happen to know. Ning Qingqing's face was slightly red, but fortunately, her back was facing Ning Fan and he didn't see it. It's just a coincidence. Ning Fan sighed again. As a cultivator and the proud daughter of the Ning family in Haining, Ning Qingqing would never care about the information of a mortal servant. Ning Fan was not a fool. The reason why Ning Qingqing would pay attention to Ning Daniu was mostly because of him. This woman claimed to be repaying a debt of gratitude, but that didn't mean that there were no feelings behind it. The two of them turned into streaks of light and quickly arrived at a barren cemetery. Countless mounds were piled up on the ground, and within each mound must be the remains of a mortal. Ning Qingqing led Ning Fan around the graves in a well-practiced manner and stopped at one of the countless graves. That was Ning Daniu's grave. Although there was no tombstone, Ning Qingqing remembered it very clearly. At the edge of the desolate grave, there were still remnants of candles and fruit plates. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. Ning Daniu did not have any relatives and he was just a servant. He did not even have a tombstone after his death. He was afraid that no one would pay their respects to him. Ning Qingqing was probably the only one who would worship him. Thank you. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out some incense spiritual fruits, placing them in front of Ning Daniu's grave. Why are you thanking me? I didn't do anything. Ning Qingqing's eyes were evasive. You've saved me twice and I've saved you once. You don't owe me anything and you don't have to pay me back. In fact, I owe you a favor. Tell me, what is your wish? I can fulfill it. I've saved you twice. Ning Qingqing obviously did not remember these past events. Yes. So you don't owe me anything. I owe you. Tell me, do you have any wish? As long as it's not too much, I will certainly fulfill it. Wish, huh? Ning Qingqing gently bit her lips and revealed a thoughtful expression. She really did not have any wish. She raised her head and looked at Ning Fan. Suddenly, her face blushed. She had a wish, but this wish was too extravagant. I don't have a wish. She lowered her head and sighed. Is that so? Then you can tell me when you've thought it through. The Ning family seems to be very lively today. Is there a distinguished guest? Yes. A nascent soul realm senior has come. I heard that he is a cultivator from the Southeastern Cultivator Alliance. Ning Qingqing answered. Let's go and meet this nascent soul realm senior. They seem to have finished their discussion. I haven't seen her for many years. What about you? Are you going to the Ning family's temple with me or continue playing in the water here? Ning Fan teased. I'm not playing in the water. Since you don't want to play in the water, then accompany me to have a look. Ning Fan smiled faintly. He used teleportation and carried Ning Qingqing to the outside of the Ning family's temple. Yun Ruowei had already finished her discussion with the three ancestors of the Ning family. She just walked out of the temple with a disappointed expression. All of a sudden, her face was filled with surprise. She realized that a young man in white robes and a lady in green dress had appeared outside the temple unknowingly. It's been many years, Miss Yun. Ning Fan's lips curved into a smile. It's you. As soon as Yun Ruowei saw Ning Fan, her face immediately showed a look of disbelief. She already knew that the little harmonious spirit realm young man in the past had already become the famous Marquis White Robe in the Rain world. When they first met, he had just achieved the harmonious spirit realm while she was a nascent soul realm old demon of the Lan Rua Temple. She could easily eliminate this young man, but she was teased by him using a bewitching technique. When they met again, he was still at the harmonious spirit realm, but his name had spread across Great Jin and his abilities were astonishing. Now that they met again after 50 years, he had already become an unreachable great figure who could shake heaven and earth. For a moment, Yun Ruowei did not know what to say. I heard that you're looking for a piece of blue jade. What kind of jade is that? Ning Fan suddenly asked. In the past, when he met the third prince of the Rain Palace, Yun Bushu, he had also asked about the blue jade. Now, Yun Ruowei was actually also looking for the blue jade. What exactly is the blue jade? I don't know what the blue jade you're talking about is. Yun Ruowei did not say it, but Ning Fan could read her mind with his mind-reading technique. Blue jade. Blue bridge jade. It was an ancient ornament in the cultivation world. In ancient times, every piece of blue bridge jade that was mined could be forged into 2 jade pendants. The jade was divided into 2 pieces. Only Dao companions who were in love would wear each other's pendants. Once they make a vow to the blue jade, they would be able to sense the location of the other jade holder no matter how far they were from each other and eventually find them. What Yun Ruowei was looking for were the 2 pieces of blue jade that once belonged to Yun Tianjue and Ning Qian. Yun Tianjue's piece of blue jade had been destroyed. To be more precise, Yun Ruowei was looking for Ning Qian's jade. Ning Qian was her elder sister. As long as she finds the jade, she would know where her elder sister was. Yun Ruowei knew that Ning Qian was not dead, but she could not find her. That was the answer in Yun Ruowei's heart. Yun Tianjue. Ning Qian. Ning Fan was stunned. If Yun Tianjue and Ning Qian each had a piece of blue jade, they were Dao companions. If Ning Qian was his mother, then Yun Tianjue was. Do you need me to help you find the jade? Ning Fan asked with a frown. He remembered that he had seen in Ming Luo's dream that his surname was Yun. In the past, Ning Fan did not care about his background. To him, it was the same whether his surname was Ning or Yun. However, at this moment, he wanted to find an answer. He wanted to unravel this mystery before he goes to the middle state. Chapter 540. Yun Ruowei's appearance was the same as it was in the past. She wore a simple blue dress, her eyes were as clear as a spring, and her smile was tranquil. She was still barefooted and wore a bracelet on her wrist with a silver bell hanging from it. When the wind blew, the sound of the bell was very pleasant. You're willing to help me find the jade? What I'm looking for is a piece of blue bridge jade pendant. It belongs to my elder sister. I'm looking for the jade, but in fact, I'm looking for my elder sister. I know that she's not dead. I know. After hearing that Ning Fan was willing to help her, Yun Ruowei no longer hid the truth and revealed an expectant expression. She was just a nascent soul realm cultivator while he was a void refinement realm cultivator. With Ning Fan's help, it should be easier to find the jade pendant. Is your elder sister the little winged demon that I saw in your dream that year? Ning Fan asked. Yes. Yun Ruowei hesitated for a moment before deciding to answer truthfully. I remember, her name is Ning Qian. Yes, she and Yun Tianjue are, the 2 of them are Dao companions. The elder sister went missing 1,000 years ago and Yun Tianjue forgot about her 1,000 years ago. Before the elder sister went missing, she had just given birth to a son for Yun Tianjue less than a month ago. But I don't know what happened after that, but both the elder sister and the child went missing overnight. After that, the life tablet of the child shattered and he should be dead. Although she didn't die, she should have fallen into a predicament. She shouldn't have died, but I couldn't find her even after searching for 1,000 years. Where exactly is she? What exactly happened in the past? Yun Tianjue didn't protect my elder sister well. He didn't even protect his own child. What's worse is that he completely forgot about my elder sister after she went missing. He didn't even remember who Ning Qian was. He is a heartless person. Yun Ruowei no longer hid anything from him. She even told him some of her secrets through telepathy. Her eyes were filled with sadness and indignation. She hated Yun Tianjue's fickleness and was unwilling to stay in the Rain Palace any longer. That was why she joined the Southeast Cultivator Union. In the past, she could not bear to hurt Ning Fan. It was only because Ning Fan's smile was somewhat similar to her elder sister's. Hence, she felt sympathetic towards him. Ning Fan remained silent, but his heart was not at peace. Could he be the child who died with Ning Qian and Yun Tianjue? Yun Tianjue had forgotten his love for 1,000 years. Ning Qian had gone missing 1,000 years ago. If he was the child who had died back then, how could he still be alive today? Yun Ruowei wholeheartedly believed that Yun Tianjue was a heartless person. However, Ning Fan did not think so. He believed that Yun Tianjue was a person who had deep feelings. Perhaps Yun Tianjue wouldn't even blink if he wanted to annihilate a sect or a country, but he was definitely not someone who would ignore the life and death of his wife and children. Ning Qian's whereabouts were unknown, Yun Tianjue had forgotten everything, and the mysterious death of that child. Something must have happened 1,000 years ago. Ning Fan gently closed his eyes. Perhaps he would be able to find out everything about this confusing mystery after finding Ning Qian's whereabouts. The only clue left to find Ning Qian seemed to be the Blue Bridge Jade Pendant. I promised to help you look for the jade. However, I have a question. Why did you come to the Ning clan of Hai Ning to look for the jade? Could it be that there are some clues in this place? Ning Fan asked. There aren't any clues. Originally, I followed the Southeastern Cultivators Alliance to 7 Apricot City. However, when I passed by Hai Ning, I sensed a trace of Intent Realm Qi in this city. Its elder sister's Qi. That Intent Realm Qi was very faint, extremely faint. However, it actually didn't disappear even after 1,000 years. Moreover, it carried a deep sorrow. Elder sister must have experienced something heartbreaking in Hai Ning. Otherwise, she wouldn't have left behind a sorrow that wouldn't disappear even after 1,000 years. However, I have already asked the cultivators of the Ning clan of Hai Ning. The Ning clan of Hai Ning only has a history of 1,000 years. Moreover, there isn't anyone in the Ning clan who has lived for more than 1,000 years. No one knows if a female winged demon had come to this place 1,000 years ago. Yun Ruowei revealed a disappointed look. The 3 ancestors of the Ning clan, on the other hand, were trembling in fear. They were not sure if they would anger this nascent soul realm female cultivator if they could not give Yun Ruowei a satisfactory answer. All of you can leave now. Miss Yun, come with me. I will bring you to look for clues in the Ning clan. If Miss Qing is willing, you can also come with me. Ning Fan dismissed the 3 ancestors of the Ning clan. The 3 old men immediately bade farewell and left as if they had just been pardoned. They also announced to the entire city that no one was allowed to stop Ning Fan no matter where he wanted to go. After the 3 ancestors of the Ning clan left, Ning Fan brought Yun Ruowei and Ning Qingqing to search the entire Hai Ning city. Ning Fan spread his spirit sense far and wide, covering a radius of 400,000 li. Previously, he did not notice it. However, after Yun Ruowei's reminder, he really sensed an extremely faint sorrow intent realm in Hai Ning city. That sorrow intent realm was very faint. Its power was obviously weak, but it was unforgettable and would not disappear even after 1,000 years. Ning Fan was stunned. The chi of this intent realm was exactly the same as that of his mother in the illusory realm. I have already searched the entire Hai Ning city. There isn't a single trace of my sister inside and outside the city. Yun Ruowei sighed in disappointment. Your sister had come to the land of Wu 1,000 years ago. She was filled with sorrow there. Even though Hai Ning city was affected by her sorrow intent realm, it wasn't the place where she was truly heartbroken. In the past, when she passed by this place, she was merely passing by. The saddest place isn't here. With Yun Ruowei's ability, she could only sense a trace of sorrow in Tent Realm from the land of Hai Ning City and determine that it was left behind by her sister 1,000 years ago. However, with Ning Fan's ability, he could follow this sorrowful qi and find the place where the sorrow was the strongest. Will there be any clues over there? Even Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters of the Rain World might not necessarily be able to distinguish the intensity of the sorrow and find the source of it. However, Ning Fan could because he had comprehended the memory in Tent Realm, which was the second step in Tent Realm. In terms of understanding the power of intent realms, he was even higher than Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators. Follow me. He suddenly used the escaping light of void teleportation and carried Yun Ruowei and Ning Qingqing. Then, he moved 40,000 li to the north towards Hai Ning City. He landed on the ground. The place where he landed was a desolate mountain and demon forest that was enshrouded in blood mist. It was called the Weeping Blood Forest. It was a famous place for cultivators in the land of Wu. There were many bloodthirsty winged demons living there. Many cultivators in the land of Wu loved to come here to hunt demons and cultivate. Outside the Weeping Blood Forest was the place where the Sorrow Intent Realm was the strongest. It's the qi of my sister's Intent Realm. It hasn't dispersed for 1,000 years. Could it be that elder sister is in this Weeping Blood Forest? Yun Ruowei exclaimed in surprise. This Weeping Blood Forest has a circumference of 5,000 li. There are many mortal cities where wars often break out. Many orphans are homeless and homeless. The Ning family often finds some orphans from this place to adopt. I've checked the records of the slaves in the clan. In the past, you were also picked up in this area. Ning Qingqing lowered her brows and said to Ning Fan as if she was recalling her memories. Is that so? Ning Fan let out a soft sigh. Sensing the strong sorrowful qi in this place, he already had some guesses about his origin. Without saying anything else, he brought the two ladies and walked into the Weeping Blood Forest quietly. Stepping over rotten leaves and dried branches, stepping over muddy swamps, there was not a single demon beast that dared to stop Ning Fan along the way. In the deepest part of the Weeping Blood Forest, there was a small pond that was only 1 zhang wide. The water of the pond was as red as blood. Ning Fan stopped at the edge of the pond. This pond did not contain any spiritual qi. It was just an ordinary pond. No cultivators or demon beasts would pay attention to it. However, Ning Fan could feel the sorrow intent realm in this pond that could not be dispelled. His gaze penetrated the bottom of the pond. In the mud at the bottom of the pond, there was a blue jade pendant lying quietly. Other than that, there seemed to be some broken stone chips at the bottom of the pond. When Ning Fan examined them carefully, he found out that they were the stone chips left behind by the demon cocoons of the demon clans. He bent his palm and waved. The jade pendant at the bottom of the pond immediately broke out of the pond and flew into his palm. The warm blue jade pendant was in the shape of a mandarin bird and there was a line of graceful writing engraved on it. When the mountains have no edges and the heavens and earth merge, only then will I dare to be with you. Yun Ruowei walked towards Ning Fan and carefully examined the blue jade pendant. Her beautiful eyes were filled with joy. That handwriting was none other than Ning Qian's handwriting. This was Ning Qian's blue bridge jade pendant. I found it. But, where is my elder sister? Yun Ruowei spread her spirit sense and scanned the area within 1,000 li of the Weeping Blood Forest. However, she could not find any trace of Ning Qian at all. She's not here. She's not here. Other than that trace of sorrow intent realm, there is no trace of her qi. The blue jade is here but Ning Qian is not here. She had once regarded this jade as her life. How could she leave it in this place? Ning Fan, I beg you. Help me find her. Yun Ruowei helplessly grabbed Ning Fan's palm. It was not easy for her to find a trace of Ning Qian. Could it be that it was going to end just like that? I'll try my best. The reason why he wanted to find Ning Qian was not only for Yun Ruowei but also for himself. He held the blue bridge jade pendant and spread the power of his memory intent realm, enveloping the entire Weeping Blood Forest. He took out piles of min luo fruits which he obtained from the tree spirit. There were 20 of them in total and he consumed all of them. After consuming the min luo fruits, he did not seek to enter the dream realm. He released his memory intent realm and did not seek to erase anyone's memories. A single min luo fruit could allow one to experience 50 years of dream realm. 20 of them would be 1,000 years. He just wanted to see everything that had happened in this place for the past 1,000 years. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged on the ground. The scenery in his mind changed rapidly. The min luo fruit could improve one's mental state in the dream realm. It could allow one to see the things that happened at the edge of one's memories. Ning Fan had Hai Ning's memories. That was why he could find out that his surname was Yun in the Min Luo dream. Ning Fan did not have any memories of the Weeping Blood Forest. Thus, he could only use the memories of the forest to enter the dream realm. The Min Luo dream. In the dream, Ning Fan was not alone but the entire Weeping Blood Forest. It was the Weeping Blood Forest from 1,000 years ago. He could neither move nor speak. He could only observe the living beings in the Weeping Blood Forest with his spirit sense. He had become a piece of land and a forest. 1,000 years ago, there was no thick blood mist in the Weeping Blood Forest. There was also no pool of blood-red water in the depths of the forest. The sun rose and the moon set. Countless demon beasts were born and died in this forest. Countless cultivators from the land of Wu entered this forest to slay demons and gain experience. Ning Fan did not care about these demon beasts and cultivators. He had been waiting all along. Until one day, a gentle lady wearing a light yellow dress stumbled into the Weeping Blood Forest while carrying a child whose body was as cold as ice. She is. Ning Fan wanted to say something but he could not make a sound. He was just a piece of land. She was Ning Qian. Ning Qian's body emanated the aura of a late nascent soul realm demon power. However, she was severely injured and her face was pale. Her eyes were bright like the moon and extremely beautiful. However, there was sorrow and despair in her eyes. Tears flowed endlessly. My child, Ning Qian fell at the end of the Weeping Blood Forest with a baby who was less than a month old in her arms. The baby in her arms was wearing a festive cotton-padded jacket. His chubby little hands were still clutching the front of her clothes. He was unconscious and barely breathing. Not long before his death, the baby's heart veins were shattered and his blood essence was sucked dry by someone. He was only hanging on to his life because he had consumed a high-grade pill. Ning Fan was shocked. Who was so cruel to suck the blood essence of a baby? Ning Qian's heart ached and her face became even paler. She touched the cold body of the baby with her palm. Looking at the baby's breathing which was getting weaker and weaker, she held back her tears and smiled stubbornly. I won't let you die. As long as I can revive you, I'm willing even if I have to give up my life. Ning Qian looked at the quiet pond in front of her and revealed a determined expression. She bit her finger and endured the excruciating pain. Then, she suddenly performed a hand seal and condensed her blood into threads. She used the threads to form a cocoon and sealed the baby in it. Then, she took off the blue jade pendant she was wearing and placed it inside the blood cocoon. Your father said that this is the demon cocoon life-sealing technique of the ancient demon race. It can isolate the heavenly secret and lock the chance of survival inside the demon cocoon. Ning Qian's face became even paler. It seemed like she was straining herself to use this technique. They sucked your blood dry. I'll give you my blood. You must come back to life. Come back to life. Ning Qian hugged the demon cocoon gently and carefully as if she was hugging a baby. She bit her finger and pressed it on the coarse demon cocoon, smearing it over and over again. Her wounds rubbed against the coarse demon cocoon. The pain was excruciating but she didn't care. I won't let you die. I won't let anyone hurt you. Ning Qian revealed a pale smile and smeared the demon cocoon with her blood again and again. 1 day, 2 days. On the 10th day, all 10 of Ning Qian's fingers were covered with wounds and her blood was almost drained. She stared at the demon cocoon in her arms in a daze and continuously channeled her demon power into it. The demon cocoon emitted a faint red light after being filled with her blood. However, it could not stop the baby's life force from fading away. Ning Qian shed tears of despair. She was sad and helpless. Her tears fell on the demon cocoon and melted into a few drops of blood. She immediately wiped away her tears in a panic and bit her finger again, wanting to replenish her own blood at the spot where the blood had melted. However, there was no more blood in her meridians. If she was a mortal, she would have already died. However, for nascent soul cultivators, as long as their nascent soul was not destroyed, they would still be alive. There's no more blood. What should I do? She looked anxious. Suddenly, she thought of something. She took out a small and sharp flying sword and pierced it into her heart. I still have heart blood. Fortunately, her heart was shattered. Ning Qian's cultivation base began to fall from late nascent soul to middle stage, early stage. Even her nascent soul began to become unstable. She didn't have time to care about her injuries and cultivation base. She just took out a jade bottle and collected the heart blood drop by drop before smearing it on the demon cocoon. However, even after smearing the heart blood, the baby in the demon cocoon was still walking towards death. 1 day, 2 days. On the 3rd day, Ning Qian held the demon cocoon with trembling body. She looked at the red light that was gradually disappearing from the demon cocoon and felt the breath that was getting weaker and weaker. She was in so much pain. On the 4th day, the baby stopped breathing completely, and died. No, Ning Qian's voice was hoarse. Her tears had dried up and her body was trembling uncontrollably. It was as if her soul had been pulled out and she had lost the whole world. Mother won't let you die. Mother won't let you die. Her dim beautiful eyes were filled with sorrow that couldn't be dispersed. She looked at the spinning world in a daze as if she was going crazy. She couldn't lose this child. She couldn't. Her eyes were always soft and gentle, but at this moment, there was an indelible persistence. No one could take her child away. As long as she could get the child's life back, she was willing to pay any price. Chi. The flying sword pierced into her dantian and pierced through her nascent soul. Ning Qian couldn't feel the pain anymore. Her eyes were empty as she smeared the blood of her nascent soul on the demon cocoon. That was the life blood of a nascent soul cultivator. When the blood ran out, it would be the moment of her death. I beg you, give me back my child, I beg you, I beg you, Ning Qian begged and prayed helplessly. Her soul was about to dissipate and she only hoped that her child could be revived before her soul dissipated. At this moment, Ning Qian had lost all her cultivation and died in an instant. However, her persistence as a mother was something that even the heavenly Tao couldn't erase. She dispersed the demon blood and the blood mist covered the entire weeping blood forest. Even the water in the pond was dyed blood red. The baby in the demon cocoon's breathing gradually calmed down. In his sleep, he suddenly laughed in a childish voice. It was unknown what kind of sweet dream he had. Ning Qian revealed a pale smile. She had saved her child from the hands of fate. In this way, even if her soul dissipated, she wouldn't have any regrets. The baby sucked on his finger and was still giggling. How could he understand that he was about to lose his mother? Ning Qian's heart started to ache. She wanted to accompany this child and watch him grow up day by day. It was a pity that she might not be able to live to that day. She took out a blood-red thunder grass from her storage pouch and planted it beside the pond. Then, she placed the demon cocoon in the pond. Mother can't bring you back to the Rain Palace. It's too dangerous there. I'll leave this thunder grass with you. With the help of the chi of your demon cocoon, she might have a chance to become your demon companion. Thunder grass, oh thunder grass. If you can borrow the demon force of my son to transform, you will become my son's demon companion. Remember to protect him for a lifetime. If that day comes, you will be called Ning Honghong. Ning Qian's chi almost dissipated. She looked at the pond with sadness and reluctance. My child, my child. Remember, your surname is Yun. Don't hate father. He has only forgotten about us temporarily. When he remembers everything, he will definitely come to find you and bring you home. I'm sorry, from now on, mother can't take care of you anymore. Ning Qian ignited the last trace of her nascent soul. A faint blood light rose around her body. She used the last trace of her strength to escape from Wu country and headed towards a certain direction. She wanted to see Yun Tianjue one last time before she died. She didn't have the mood to care about those enemies. She also didn't want to ask why Yun Tianjue lost his memory. She just wanted to tell Yun Tianjue at the last moment of her life that their child was still alive in Wu country. The dream continued. After an unknown number of years, this demon forest was called the Weeping Blood Forest because of the blood-like red mist. Countless cultivators of Wu land came here to train, but Ning Qian never came again. After accompanying the demon cocoon for dozens of years, the thunder grass beside the pond was nourished by the demon cocoon's demonic energy and started to transform. This thunder grass was originally the primordial spirit of a peerless expert. It transformed into a red-clothed woman. As soon as it transformed, it had the terrifying cultivation of peak nascent soul realm. The woman stared blankly at the pond, forgetting about her past. The only thing she remembered was the reminder of a woman. From then on, she was Ning Honghong. From then on, she had to protect the demon cocoon in the pond. She started to cultivate diligently and built the Ning family in Hai Ning of Wu land. She didn't know how long she had to protect the demon cocoon. All she did was hunt demonic beasts and collect their blood. She smeared it on the demon cocoon and replenished the vitality of the baby inside. In the past, the baby whose bloodline was extracted lost all its cultivation aptitude, but its life was preserved. One year, the sealed gate of the ancient heavenly court was opened. Ning Honghong entered the gate and tried to find some spiritual items to nourish the baby. However, she died in the ancient heavenly court. A trace of her soul drifted into the demon's sinister forest from the entrance of a grand formation. Spring passed and autumn came. Year after year. One day after 1,000 years, the demon cocoon broke. A ray of blood light carried the baby and landed in a mortal town 5,000 li away from the Weeping Blood Forest. 3 years later, the mortal town was destroyed due to war. A cultivator of the Ning family who passed by took away a few orphans. Awakening from 1,000 years' dream. Ning Fan consumed 20 min luo fruits and sat in the Weeping Blood Forest for 10 days. 10 days later, he opened his eyes and fell into a long silence. Have you found my sister's whereabouts? Yun Ruowei asked anxiously. Ning Fan didn't say much. He just took out a pure bottle magic treasure and squatted beside the pond, collecting all the blood-red water. He took out another pure bottle and used his magic power to collect all the blood mist within 1,000 li. He jumped into the muddy bottom of the dried pond and picked up all the broken shells of the demon cocoon. Then, he carefully kept them in the jade box. He tied the blue jade pendant with a green rainbow thread and wore it around his neck. The green rainbow thread was an extremely precious material for refining treasures. It could even be used to refine immortal treasures. I'm sorry. I couldn't find her, I'm sorry. Chapter 541. With a teleportation technique, Ning Fan brought Yun Ruowei and Ning Qingqing back to Hai Ning. He had long been accustomed to smiling. No matter how dangerous the road ahead was, he had never lost his smile. Smiling was a kind of attitude, it had nothing to do with one's mood. However, he couldn't smile today, not even if he was pretending. Miss Yun, if you encounter any difficulties in the Southeast Cultivator Union in the future, you can always come to 7 Apricot City for help. Miss Qing, Hai Ning's Ning family will prosper for as long as I live. You can rest assured about this. With that, he turned around and left in a somewhat desolate manner. Ning Qingqing had something to ask, but she couldn't say it. At first, Yun Ruowei wanted to ask Ning Fan for the blue jade. However, when she saw Ning Fan's back, she could not bring herself to ask for it. There seemed to be an illusion in his heart that the jade should have been given to him for safekeeping and no one could replace it. Why is he so sad? Yun Ruowei did not understand and neither did Ning Qingqing. No one will understand. Ning Fan returned to 7 Apricot City using the escaping light. 3 days later, he received a message transmitting flying sword from the endless sea. After listening to the voice transmission, he didn't say anything. He split his soul into the sovereign tomb and helped Patriarch Dong Su, who had been waiting for a long time, to break through to the void training realm. Old ancestor Dong Su had not seen Ning Fan for a long time. He wanted to crack a few jokes with him. However, when he saw Ning Fan's lonely back, all of his jokes turned into sighs. 1 month later, with Ning Fan's help, old ancestor Dong Su successfully broke through the bottleneck of the void refinement realm. As long as he left the sovereign tomb and returned to the Dong Su island for a long seclusion, he would be able to become a void refinement realm cultivator. Since everything was settled, Ning Fan left 7 Apricot City alone and headed towards the middle state. Little Martin stayed in 7 Apricot City. After all, her injuries had not fully recovered. With her and Ming Luo protecting 7 Apricot City, even if Moksha Sovereign came personally, they would still be able to resist. Ning Fan walked out of the mountains and rivers of Wuyu on his own. He traveled across the 4 countries and visited many foreign cultivation countries that he had never visited before. He traveled all the way to the north, sometimes flying, sometimes walking, sometimes stopping, and sometimes stopping in the deep mountains to look at the blooming mountain flowers. Within a month, he had crossed countless mountains and valleys. Cultivation country, he accidentally entered a demon tiger's lair. A young tiger bared its teeth and pounced at him, not knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. His aura spread out slightly, causing the tiger cub to fall to the ground in fright. Ning Fan raised his finger, intending to kill the tiger cub. However, a black tiger stood in front of it and knelt on the ground like a human. Its eyes were filled with despair and begging as it kept kowtowing to Ning Fan. This was a tigress, perhaps the mother of the tiger cub. Ning Fan sighed. All of a sudden, his killing intent faded and he flew away. In the evening rain, he stood by a nameless river, watching the duckweed in the river being scattered by the rain. The mayflies that had been resting on the duckweed immediately jumped away and left the scattered duckweed to find their next foothold. The rain became heavier and heavier, gradually becoming as fine as a curtain. The shore could not be seen clearly. Finally, the downpour was like a torrential downpour. Bolts of lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder rumbled incessantly. Ning Fan's clothes were completely wet. As the autumn wind blew past, his clothes were slightly cold. The blue jade on his neck was even colder. He closed his eyes and sighed with a lonely expression. Who's the one who said heaven and earth are heartless? If the heaven and earth are heartless, why were you born in the heaven and earth? Those who are heartless in their hearts will naturally see the heaven and earth as heartless. Who's the one who said he had to destroy love? If all love and thoughts are destroyed, then what will be left at the end of the Tao? I cultivate the devil path not because I hate heaven and earth. I just want to break the prison and protect the warmth behind my back. I don't kill for riches and honor, but for a thought of love and a meal. I don't kill not because I'm kind. I slaughter not because I'm evil, but there are too many things in this world that I can't help. I thought I had no father or mother. How ridiculous. If I didn't have a mother, I should have died 1,000 years ago. Every drop of blood in my body doesn't belong to me, and I can't find her. It's not that the duckweed doesn't want to take root, the mayflies are just powerless. He gritted his teeth and closed his eyes, standing alone in the evening rain. His fists were clenched so tightly that his nails dug deep into his palms, causing blood to flow out. I'm sorry, the rain didn't stop even after a long time. Ning Fan left the riverside and slowly walked upstream along the river. A few days later, a small cultivation city appeared in front of him. This cultivation country was called Zhao Country, a low-ranked cultivation country. It was called the Vermilion Bird City and was guarded by only one gold core old ancestor. Although Zhao country wasn't strong, it was located at the border of the southeastern continent and was adjacent to the Middle State. Therefore, many experts of the Middle State would pass by this place. The heavy rain was like a waterfall in the city. Many cultivators wearing straw raincoats hurriedly walked through the city. No one knew Ning Fan's cultivation base when he walked into the city. The cultivators who passed by only knew that he was a low-level cultivator. One after another, Harmonious Spirit and Gold Core Old Monsters entered the Vermilion Bird City and were treated respectfully by the cultivators guarding the city. If they were nascent Soul Realm cultivators, it would be a grand reception. If they were Spirit-Severing Realm cultivators who didn't show their cultivation base, the cultivators guarding the city wouldn't be able to see their strength and would be disrespectful instead. This was the way of the world. Ning Fan didn't care about the attitude of the cultivators guarding the city and walked towards a tavern in the city. The name of the tavern was Falling Cloud House. Along the way to the border of the Middle State, his mood had gradually calmed down from sadness. He only wanted to get drunk and restore his devil heart. To die from wine was to get drunk. To be born from wine was to wake up. Wine could intoxicate one's heart, but it could also wake one's heart. Outside the tavern, there were a few vein-opening realm cultivators wearing bamboo hats and coats guarding the door. When they saw Ning Fan entering the tavern, they said coldly, "Friend, the wine in this tavern is expensive. Those who don't have enough immortal jades can't enter." "It's all right. I should have enough immortal jades." Ning Fan walked past the few men and entered the tavern. Most of the seats in the tavern were vein-opening realm cultivators drinking wine. The seats were already full. There was only one seat by the window that was unoccupied because of the rain. Occasionally, there were a few Harmonious Spirit old monsters occupying a large empty table and carefully tasting the wine. No one dared to sit at the same table as these old monsters. As cultivators, it was rare for them to get wet from the rain. The clothes of the vein-opening realm cultivators in the tavern were dry. Even if some of them got wet, they had already dried their clothes with their magical power. Ning Fan was the first person who got drenched. Everyone thought that Ning Fan's magical power was too weak to evaporate the rain with his magical power. A few young cultivators saw Ning Fan's embarrassing appearance and laughed. "Since this little brother is drenched, why don't you sit by the window? You won't get wet anyway." "That makes sense." Ning Fan walked to the seat by the window and sat down, letting the light rain fall on his body. He didn't look happy at all. "Ha!" He even said that it makes sense. A few cultivators laughed. Seeing that Ning Fan ignored them, they gradually felt bored and no longer cared about him. After paying the immortal jades and serving the spiritual wine, Ning Fan drank by himself. Occasionally, he would look at the curtain of rain outside the window. Everything in the tavern had nothing to do with him. He looked at the endless autumn rain. Gradually, what he saw in front of him was no longer the rain, but the past and memories of his journey. His heart was filled with enlightenment and his thoughts gradually drifted away. The rain was real and the memories were illusory. The Void Glimpse stage saw the illusory, the Void Inquiry stage saw the illusory, the Void Pierce stage saw the illusory and the Absolute Void stage saw the real illusory. If he attains the Void Fragmentation realm, he would probably be able to shatter the Void. Illusory and real could be determined with just a single thought: is this the great Tao of Void? Ning Fan lifted the wine jar and took a big gulp. The sadness in his heart was washed away by the rain and the wine. Good wine. Ning Fan's praise immediately made many of the customers in the tavern burst into laughter. "Ha! Does this kid know anything about wine? The spiritual wine of the Falling Cloud House has always been mixed with water. How can it be considered as good wine? This kid doesn't know anything about wine but he still praises it. What a joke! If we are talking about the best wine in the Vermilion Bird City, it would definitely be the wine of the Drunken Sparrow House. TSK TSK TSK. That is the real good wine. However, the price is 10 times more expensive than the wine of the falling cloud house. Us vein-opening realm cultivators can only reluctantly drink the watered wine of the falling cloud house. Ning Fan was still drinking by himself, ignoring these low-grade cultivators. In his eyes, these vein-opening realm and harmonious spirit realm cultivators were no different from mortals. There was no need for him to obtain their approval. The quality of the wine was not determined by the alcohol content nor the taste. If it could wash away his sadness, then it was naturally a good wine. No one agreed with Ning Fan's words. Only a hearty laughter resounded from outside the tavern. Ha! I thought I was the only one who thought that the wine of the falling cloud house was good. It turns out that there is a bosom friend here. What a joyous occasion. The laughter was still echoing in the distance. In an instant, a man wearing a bamboo hat and a straw raincoat entered the tavern. His grandma, this is really a heavy rain. I am wearing a bamboo hat and a straw raincoat, but I am still wet. Ha, ha. The man laughed heartily. His body exuded the aura of a fifth-level vein-opening cultivator. He looked around the tavern and saw Ning Fan. Seeing Ning Fan calmly drinking under the rain, he immediately guessed that this was the person praising the wine. Ha! Isn't this Crazy Wu from the Vermilion Bird City? I heard that you went into seclusion 3 years ago to break through to the 6th level vein opening. Why is your aura still at the 5th level? Did you fail again? Ha! I have known him for 10 years. At that time, he was already at the 5th level vein opening. 10 years have passed, but his cultivation hasn't improved at all. It seems like he will not be able to break through to the harmonious spirit realm in this life. Harmonious spirit? If Crazy Wu could reach the harmonious spirit realm, then I would be able to form my core. Countless mocking voices came. Obviously, most of them knew this man wearing a bamboo hat. The man didn't care about the mockery of the crowd. He took off his bamboo hat and straw raincoat, laughed and walked towards Ning Fan's table. He ignored the falling rain outside the window and sat down. He threw the bamboo hat and straw raincoat to the side and laughed. This rain is really good. This seat near the window is really the best seat in this tavern. As soon as the man said this, countless customers immediately spurted out their wine and laughed. Look, Crazy Wu is talking nonsense again. Ha! Ning Fan raised his eyes and casually glanced at the man. The calm evil qi in his body slightly trembled. He could feel an extremely strong evil qi from the man's body. Peak Spirit Severing Realm. This person is not far from the Void Refinement Realm. Although the evil qi in his body is far weaker than mine, it is still quite heavy. He should be an unscrupulous evil cultivator. Ning Fan could see through the man's background with just a glance. However, the man couldn't see through Ning Fan at all. He only thought that Ning Fan was a vein-opening junior, but he still cupped his fists and said politely. I am Wu Chen, the Wu who has no respect for the law, the Chen who massacred the city. The name of the man was Wu Cheng. However, those who were familiar with him knew that his name was Wu Chen. What he said was completely incongruous. He was practically illiterate. Thus, the crowd laughed at him again. Ha! This Wu Chen is talking nonsense again. Little brother, don't believe him. His Wu is the Wu of Wu Yu and the Chen of Chen. The man was not bothered by the crowd's mockery. He flicked some immortal jade to the innkeeper and the latter immediately served wine. The man carried the wine jar and drank a mouthful of it. He felt very carefree. Good wine. What a good wine. The customers naturally laughed at the man just like how they laughed at Ning Fan before. I haven't asked for little brother's name yet. Ning Fan. As soon as the 2 words were uttered, the entire tavern fell into dead silence. Ning Fan. Marquis White Robe, Ning Fan. Impossible. It's definitely impossible. There were countless people with the same name in the world. There were tens of thousands of people with the same name in the Rain world. It was certainly impossible for this person to be Marquis White Robe. The crowd regained their smiles and continued drinking their wine. The man was also stunned. A moment later, however, he also shook his head and laughed heartily. Little brother Ning, your name is really great. It's exactly the same as Marquis White Robe. It almost scared me to death. Is that so? Ning Fan was not bothered at all. He continued drinking by himself and did not have the mood to talk to the man. The man, on the other hand, became interested in Ning Fan. He carefully studied Ning Fan for a few times and suddenly sighed. Little brother, you have the pain of losing your family in your eyes. Oh. Brother Wu knows the art of physiognomy. Ning Fan was surprised. His interest in Wu Chen was piqued. Ha! What do I know about physiognomy? I just know how to read people's faces. Little brother doesn't look sad on your face, but your heart is in pain. I was just making a random guess. Sigh. There aren't many people like little brother. Most of the people in the cultivation world are cold, heartless, and selfish. Those who claim to be righteous don't even dare to keep their closest relatives in their hearts. They stubbornly cut off their emotions and abandon the mortal world. Hee hee. In my opinion, such people are really stupid. The man let out a sigh and stopped smiling. He gulped down a jar of wine in one gulp and bought another jar. He finished it in an instant and then bought 3 jars of wine in one go. Ning Fan was stunned. He felt that the man's words were in line with his thoughts. Even though the man's cultivation base was not as good as his, he still thought highly of him. After taking a closer look at Wu Chen, Ning Fan realized that this man possessed a trace of heavenly secret power. He should be an expert in the Tao of divination. Thus, his opinion of this man increased. Why don't you take a guess? Is my family member dead or alive? Ning Fan asked politely. Alive. Wu Chen answered without any hesitation. Where is she? I don't know. Her fate has been changed. I can't see through it. If I try to see it forcefully, I'll only harm myself. Wu Chen was still drinking. However, after just a few words, Ning Fan had already determined that this man's divination ability was shocking. In the past, Dong Su could only see that Ning Qian's fate had been changed by using the blood of an immortal. However, this man in front of him could see through the heavenly secret with just a few words. He was truly a peerless genius. I, Ning Fan, beg you to help me with my divination. Sigh. Fine, fine. I'll help you take a look. Just a look. Wu Chen could not help but feel touched when he saw the sincerity in Ning Fan's eyes. He put down the wine jar and took out 12 empty wine bowls, placing them on the table according to a certain formation. Then, he closed his eyes and suddenly patted the wine jar. The wine flew up on its own and fell into the 12 bowls. The 12 branches of the earth technique. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat. He recognized that the technique Wu Chen used was a long-lost ancient divination technique. Wu Chen's face was filled with pain, as if it was extremely difficult for him to divine the heavenly secret. However, based on Wu Chen's personality, he would definitely keep his promise. Since he had promised to help Ning Fan with his divination, he would take a look no matter how difficult it was. Peep. As soon as Wu Chen uttered the word, he suddenly opened his eyes and coughed out a few liters of blood. Then, he fainted. All the customers in the tavern were stunned. They did not know why Wu Chen fainted all of a sudden. Ning Fan was shocked. He flicked his sleeve and flicked a pill into Wu Chen's mouth. He then used his magic power to dissolve it. It was a 6th revolution healing pill. As the pill dissolved, Wu Chen gradually regained consciousness. He sat up and patted his forehead with a strange expression. Oh my God! That scared me to death. The person who changed her fate is too strong. I was almost killed by the heavenly secret. But it's really strange. I have coughed out so much blood. How did I suppress my injuries in an instant? Wu Chen did not know that it was Ning Fan who fed him the pill. He looked at Ning Fan with a proud expression and said, "I saw it. The person you are looking for is in the middle state." The middle state. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved into a smile. It was the first time he smiled along the way. As long as he knew that she was in the middle state, he would find her even if he had to destroy the entire place. "Thank you." Ning Fan solemnly cupped his fists at Wu Chen. "Hee hee. It's just a small matter. There's no need to thank me." "Oh no, my pursuers are here. I have committed some crimes these few days. I need to run away." Just as Wu Chen was about to stand up and leave, his chest was affected by the pain. He sat back on his seat. During this moment of delay, the entire Vermilion Bird City was suddenly shrouded by 4 extremely strong qi. 4 Void Refinement Realm Cultivators. "We are the 4 Elders Buyu, of the Great Heaven Palace in the Middle State. We have come to the Vermilion Bird City of Zhao Country to arrest, revered Raincaster, Wu Chen of the Great Heaven Palace. This person disobeyed the orders of the Palace Lord and rained rain at will, violating the law of the world. According to the law, he should be brought back to the Great Heaven Palace and suffer 20 lashes from the rain. Wu Chen, come with us." Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. The newcomers were actually 4 Void Glimpse stage experts. Wu Chen's true identity was actually a revered elder of the Rain Palace which belonged to the Great Heaven Palace. Moreover, his identity was slightly different from the other revered elders. There were many revered elders in the Great Heaven Palace. Among them, only 24 revered rain caster had the right to summon rain in the rain world. Wu Chen was one of them. The 4 Void Glimpse stage experts instantly arrived at the Vermilion Bird City and entered the Falling Cloud House. All the customers looked at Wu Chen as if they were looking at a monster. No one could imagine that this lunatic Wu, who had always been ridiculed by others, was actually a divine transformation realm revered elder of the Rain Palace. He is The few people who asserted that Wu Chen would never attain the harmonious spirit realm in this life were so scared that they peed their pants. Wu Chen looked at the 4 elders with an indignant expression. To a divine transformation realm cultivator, enduring 20 lashes of the rain was not considered a heavy punishment. However, they would still suffer severe injuries. They would need to enter seclusion for at least a few years to fully recover. If he had made some grave mistakes, it would be fine if he was punished. However, he did not commit any mistakes. Thus, he naturally refused to accept the punishment. "I didn't do anything wrong. The Palace Lord asked me to summon a rainstorm and flood the Yun Nation. That Yun Nation is just a mortal country. It doesn't even have a single cultivator and they didn't violate any laws. What right do they have to drown them? I won't accept it." Wu Chen refuted. They don't agree to build a shrine for the Rain Sovereign in their country. They are unwilling to offer incense to the Rain Sovereign. Is this not considered as violating the laws? A Void Glimpse stage old man in silver robes said coldly. "Bullshit. It's their freedom to worship whoever they want." Wu Chen said angrily. "How dare you? How dare a mere revered elder of the Rain Palace be disrespectful to us Void Refinement Realm experts?" The silver-robed Void Glimpse stage expert was enraged. His aura force suddenly spread out and pressed down on Wu Chen like a falling sky. Wu Chen was greatly shocked. With his current injured body, he could not withstand the aura force of a Void Refinement Realm expert at all. Even if he was at his peak, he would not be able to withstand half a round of attacks from a Void Refinement Realm expert. Just as the aura force was about to fall on him, a wave of baleful chi that was countless times stronger soared into the sky, causing the 4 Void Glimpse stage experts to cough out blood at the same time. "He is my friend." Ning Fan stood up gently and stared coldly at the 4 Void Glimpse stage experts. When the 4 Void Glimpse stage experts saw Ning Fan's face, cold sweat immediately broke out on their bodies. Marquis White Robe. Hiss! All the customers in the Falling Cloud residence were stunned. All the cultivators in the Vermilion Bird City were stunned. That white-robed young man who was drenched in the rain was actually an existence that they must never provoke. Marquis White Robe, please calm down. We didn't know that this person is your friend. Little brother, no, no, no. Marquis White Robe, please calm down. Please don't kill them. If you kill them, I will become your accomplice. Then I won't be a revered elder of the Rain Palace anymore. I will have to flee to the ends of the world. Wu Chen's face turned green with fear. He never expected that Ning Fan would be such a terrifying person. Marquis White Robe. Damn it. He is actually drinking and chatting merrily with the #1 Devil Lord of the Rain World. This is really too scary. Too scary. This must be the craziest thing that I, Madman Wu, have ever done in my entire life. If Ning Fan kills 4 Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace and causes me, Madman Wu, to flee to the Rain World, then I will be in big trouble. Chapter 542. With Ning Fan here, no matter how arrogant the 4 elders were, they would not dare to punish Wu Chen. Wu Chen, on the other hand, looked nervous. He had heard that Marquis White Robe was infamous for treating human lives like grass. He often killed people out of anger. He was afraid that Ning Fan would kill the 4 elders. All the cultivators in the entire Vermilion Bird City were suppressed by the overwhelming baleful qi and devil might. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. The city was dead silent. Only the sound of the rainstorm could be heard. All the cultivators were swallowing their saliva. If Ning Fan goes on a killing spree, not to mention the Vermilion Bird City, even Zhao country would be bathed in blood. To this man, the realm law of the Rain World was nothing. Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the 4 elders and then Wu Chen. When he saw Wu Chen's panicked expression, he could not help but chuckle. Wu Chen did not have a huge conflict with the vast Heaven Palace. Besides, he was the victim. Since he did not have the intention to punish the 4 elders, Ning Fan certainly would not kill them here. The reason why he showed up was just to return a favor to Wu Chen and help him solve the problem. That was all. With his words, Ning Fan believed that even the Palace Lord would not punish Wu Chen anymore. Don't worry. I just want to get drunk today. I won't kill anyone. The 4 of you have spoiled my mood. Leave now. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he returned to his seat and began to drink by himself. He did not reveal any baleful qi at all. His expression was calm. No one could tell that he was a devil lord who wanted to stir up trouble. This. The 4 elders exchanged glances with each other. Judging from Ning Fan's attitude, even if he protected Wu Chen today, they would not be able to bring him back to the palace to punish him. What Wu Chen had done was just a small mistake. The reason why the palace lord punished him was just because he disliked his attitude of offending his superior. Since the dignified Marquis White Robe wanted to protect Wu Chen, they naturally would not dare to go against him. However, if they return empty-handed, the palace lord would certainly punish them. The 4 of them hesitated, not knowing whether they should leave now or leave after capturing Wu Chen. Why are you still here? Ning Fan took a sip of his wine and spoke in an indifferent tone. When others heard his words, they only felt that it was a gentle breeze and there was nothing wrong with it. However, when the 4 elders heard his words, it turned into countless thunderclaps, causing them to retreat while coughing out blood. The 4 of them looked at each other in astonishment. The person who could force them to retreat with just a sentence must at least be an absolute void stage old monster. All of them knew that Ning Fan was infamous, but they did not expect his cultivation base to be this terrifying. Even if Palace Master Hao Tian personally attacked, he might not be able to force the 4 of them back with just a single word. Marquis White Robe, please calm down. We will take our leave now. The 4 of them no longer dared to disobey Ning Fan's order. They hurriedly left and disappeared into the curtain of rain. Who? In an instant, the entire Vermilion Bird City heaved a sigh of relief. Wu Chen, on the other hand, stared at Ning Fan with a strange look in his eyes. In an instant, his eyes became as deep as the ocean. His eyes shone brightly as if he was looking at Ning Fan seriously again. However, that light only lasted for a moment before it disappeared. Ning Fan did not notice it as well. Wu Chen panted heavily and sat back on his seat. He looked at Ning Fan awkwardly. Cough cough. You scared me to death. I didn't expect that little brother Ning's real identity is actually Marquis White Robe. It really scared me to death. All the customers in the tavern fell silent and nodded silently. They agreed with Wu Chen's opinion. They were also scared to death by Ning Fan. With Ning Fan here, who would still be in the mood to drink? All of them were eager to leave as soon as possible. However, they were also afraid that they would make Ning Fan unhappy if they left hastily. Thus, each of them wore a restless expression. Brother Wu's divination technique is really amazing. Did you really not manage to divine my identity before this? Ning Fan revealed a meaningful smile. I thought you were at the vein opening realm. Why would I divine you? Sigh. If I had divined that you are Marquis White Robe, I'm afraid I would have already packed up my things and fled from the Vermilion Bird City. I misspoke. I'll have to drink a jar of wine as punishment. Wu Chen was also a forthright person. It seemed like he was no longer afraid of Ning Fan's ferocious reputation. Thus, he became more familiar with Ning Fan. Is that so? I've lived my entire life but I don't have many friends. Being able to get to know Brother Wu before entering the middle state is also fate. Why don't we become friends who enjoy wine and meet together? What a good friend who enjoys wine and meet together. I like to make friends who enjoy wine and meet together. Let's eat and drink together. There's no need to scheme against each other. Ha! Ha! The two of them approached the window. Outside the window, the raindrops poured like a waterfall. Even though the two of them were drenched by the raindrops, they still drank their wine calmly. If it was before, the customers in the tavern would probably laugh at them for being foolish. Now, however, they began to admire the demeanor of experts who remained calm in the face of heavenly might. Sigh. If it wasn't for Brother Ning's help this time, I would have been sent back to the Great Heaven Palace by Bu Yu and the other two elders. You know what I mean. I don't care how many whips I get. What I'm fighting for is my pride. Hee hee. Of course, I'm also afraid of losing face. If I get whipped 20 times in front of the other revered elders of the Great Heaven Palace, I'm afraid I won't have the face to see anyone for the rest of my life. Face, huh? Ning Fan could not help but laugh. This Wu Chen's personality was really a troublemaker, which was quite similar to the old devil. Wu Chen had performed a divination for him and Ning Fan had helped him once. Even though the kindness between them might not cancel each other out, the friendship between the two of them had finally been forged. Hee hee. I won't be returning to the Great Heaven Palace for the time being. I want to travel around the 800 cultivation countries of the Rain World. I want to stay away from the limelight so that no one can make things difficult for me. Brother Ning, if you want to go to the Middle State, head north after Zhao Country and enter the territory of the Middle State. I won't send you there. Ha, ha. Hiding. In my opinion, Brother Wu wants to use the opportunity of traveling the world to gain enlightenment. Ha. I can't hide anything from Brother Ning. I, your father, really want to comprehend it and make a breakthrough. Is that so? Ning Fan drank his wine while looking at the rain outside the window. He no longer said anything as if he was comprehending the great Tao of void from the rain. Wu Chen was also holding a jar of wine, looking at the storm outside the window. Every now and then, he would gulp down a mouthful of wine, his eyes deep and vacant. The grand Tao of the world is extremely simple and true. Every flower and every rain has its own truth. Brother Ning must be using the rain to comprehend the emptiness, but what I see is not emptiness. After a day and a night, the storm finally stopped. Ning Fan's mood of drinking had already passed. The sadness in his heart had also faded away. With a gentle shake of his magic power, all the rainwater on his body evaporated. Then, he rose to his feet and cupped his fists towards Wu Chen. "See you again." The rain stopped and the wine dispersed. There was no longer any reason for Ning Fan to stay in the Vermilion Bird City. Thus, he bid his farewell. "Brother Ning, please wait. Take these 2 jade slips and take a look. It can be considered as having a better understanding of the central region." Wu Chen was no longer in the mood of drinking. He stood up and called out to Ning Fan, handing him 2 jade slips. Ning Fan received the jade slips and scanned them with his spirit sense. Then, he cupped his fists and left. His back no longer looked lonely. Wu Chen looked at Ning Fan's disappearing back and also stood up. He kept the bamboo hat and straw cape beside him and used his magic power to dry the water stains on his body. This man should be the leader of this generation's youth in the rain world. As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Chen laughed and left the tavern proudly. After Ning Fan and Wu Chen left, the entire Vermilion Bird City was filled with sighs of relief. Very good. The malefic star has finally left. Ning Fan left the border of Zhao country and officially entered the central region. Wu Chen gave Ning Fan 2 jade slips in total. One of the jade slips recorded the map of the central region. It covered all the territories of the 300-plus cultivation countries in the central region. The rain world was surrounded by the sea on all sides. The central region occupied half of the rain world. The other jade slips recorded all the introductions of the 40,000 sects and forces in the central region. Those small forces were naturally not worth mentioning. Only the forces with void refinement realm experts were worthy of Ning Fan's attention. In the middle state, the forces that possessed void refinement realm experts were divided into the 5 countries, 9 palaces and 13 sections. There were quite a number of branch palaces in the Rain Palace. However, there were only 9 branch palaces with titles and the palace masters were all void refinement realm cultivators. As for the 9 palaces, each of them had a void fragmentation realm cultivator in name. When the palace master of the 9 palaces encountered something that he could not handle, the void fragmentation realm cultivators would take action. Under normal circumstances, void fragmentation realm cultivators would be busy with cultivation and would not pay attention to mundane chores. The 5 nations were the Heavenly Cloud Nation, the Yinhua Nation, the Rising Sun Nation, the Qianhuan Nation, and the Snow Nation. The Heavenly Cloud Nation was the capital of the Rain World. The main palace and the 9 branch palaces of the Rain Palace were all located in the Heavenly Cloud Nation. The Heavenly Cloud Nation was the largest cultivation nation in the Rain Immortal world. It was divided into 10 great nations, which were called the Heavenly Cloud 10 territories. The cultivators of the main palace and the 9 sub-palaces were stationed there. The Scarlet Heaven Palace that Ning Fan was currently in charge of was located in the Scarlet Heaven territory of Heavenly Cloud Country. Other than the Heavenly Cloud Nation, the other 4 nations were guarded by the 4 great Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace. The Void Fragmentation Realm expert of Yinyu Country was the sect master of the Netherworld sect, Yun Daoku. The Void Fragmentation Realm expert of the Li Sun Country was the sect master of the Lai Mountain sect, Pil Sovereign, Li Tsangtian. The Void Fragmentation Realm expert of the Thousand Fantasy Country was the sect master of the Thousand Fantasy sect, Yun Qingge. The Void Fragmentation Realm expert of Snow Country was the Valley master of the Dragon Deciding Valley, Chu Chang'an. Other than the 5 nations and 9 palaces, there were also 13 sects in the Central Plains. They were, Lan Ling sect, 5 Elements sect, Imperial Beast sect, Flowing Cloud Valley, Fine Dust sect, Martial sect, Nirvana Valley, Wonderful Sound Valley, Hollow Temple, Ice Mountain Sword sect, Barbarian Dao sect, Scarlet Demon sect, and Six Flames sect. Due to the battle of 100 sects, many Void Refinement Realm experts of the 13 sects had fallen. Many sects had no choice but to elect a new Void Refinement Realm sect master. As for the Barbarian Dao sect, the Scarlet Demon sect and the Six Flames sect, due to the deaths of all the Void Refinement Realm cultivators in their sects, they had already faded out of the 13 sections. He now had a general understanding of the middle state. In order to meet the Rain Sovereign, he naturally had to go to Heavenly Cloud Country. The chances of finding Ning Qian's whereabouts in the more than 300 cultivation countries in the central continent were slim, like finding a needle in a haystack. He did not know what had happened back then, but he remembered Ning Qian's words in that dream. It was very dangerous inside the Rain Palace. Could it be that someone in the Rain Palace had done something to Ning Qian and the infant? The reason he came to the middle state this time was to return the Xian Wei bloody gourd to Yun Tianjue. Now, however, he did not know how to face this person. He recalled the scenes in the Dragon Determining Valley and the provocative words that the seventh prince said to Yun Tianjue. The seventh prince said that Yun Tianjue had betrayed the Rain Palace for a woman in the past and killed the fourth prince. Because of that, he was implanted with a sinful seal. Could it be that the person who hurt Ning Qian was the fourth prince? Or could it be someone else? The Rain Palace, huh? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. Before he found out the truth, he would not do anything. However, if he finds out that someone from the Rain Palace was involved in this matter, he might stir up a sea of blood in the middle state. Ning Fan stroked the blue jade on his neck. No one knew what he was thinking. His traveling light sped all the way. Half a month later, he arrived at Lianyun country. This country was already adjacent to Heavenly Cloud Country. There were many cultivators of the Rain Palace stationed there. When Ning Fan crossed the border, someone immediately recognized him and handed him another secret order from the Rain Sovereign. I'm currently in seclusion. You stay in Heavenly Cloud Country. When I come out, I will summon you. As soon as Ning Fan finished reading the secret order, it combusted on its own. He did not stay in Lianyun country any longer. Instead, he immediately flew towards Yun Nation. When he arrived at Yun Nation, there was already a group of cultivators of the Rain Palace waiting outside the border to welcome him. Those who were waiting there were not people of the Scarlet Heaven Palace but cultivators of the Serene Heaven Palace. As a branch palace under Ning Fan, the Scarlet Heaven Palace actually did not come to welcome him, the Palace Lord. Was this the intention of the seventh prince who was guarding the Scarlet Heaven Palace? Did he want to show his strength to Ning Fan? The Palace Lord and Vice Palace Lord of the Serene Heaven Palace, Fang Sheng and Fang Si, both came to welcome Ning Fan. This was greatly out of Ning Fan's expectation. He did not have any friendship with the Serene Heaven Palace. To be precise, they even had some grudges against each other. However, the Serene Heaven Palace was treating him so warmly. Was this the intention of Chu Chang or the sixth prince, Yun Yomu? He actually attained the Void Inquiry stage after just 10 years. Fang Sheng and Fang Si were initially welcoming Ning Fan with smiles on their faces. However, as soon as they sensed Ning Fan's Void Inquiry stage chi, their expressions changed and they exclaimed in surprise. Their exclamation immediately shocked the other cultivators of the Serene Heaven Palace. 10 years ago, during the battle in Song Country, Ning Fan was clearly just a Void Glimpse stage cultivator. This man actually only spent 10 years to attain the Void Inquiry stage. He was simply a monstrous genius. Among the group of revered elders of the Serene Heaven Palace, many of them were looking at Ning Fan with admiration, respect and gratitude. These revered elders were naturally the group of people whom Ning Fan had saved from the Blood Dragon pool that day. Yu Bai, who had some friendly relations with them, was also among them. Sensing Ning Fan's vast and profound chi, he felt ashamed of his own inferiority. Revered Ming, the one who saved us in the past, is now the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. It's really admirable. Void Inquiry stage. It has only been a few years but he has already become a Void Inquiry stage cultivator. Our cultivation aptitude isn't considered weak either. However, compared to him, we are really ashamed of ourselves. A young lady with a ponytail and silver armor who had delicate features stared at Ning Fan in a daze. Her eyes were filled with surprise and disbelief as she waved at Ning Fan. Zhou Ming, no, Ning Fan, you've also come to the middle state. That's great. Great. This is really great. I can finally repay the 3 favors that I owe him. Ning Fan was stunned. He then looked at the young lady. "You Chong, Chapter 543. Seeing that Ning Fan still remembered her, Yu Chong felt a sweetness in her heart. She lowered her head and her ears felt a little warm. Fang Sheng and Fang Si calmed themselves down from their initial shock. They stepped forward and cupped their fists at Ning Fan politely. "We have been waiting for Marquis White Robe for a long time under the Sixth Prince's order to lead the way to Heavenly Cloud." The Sixth Prince's order, huh? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He did not expect that Yun Yomu would send someone to greet him. Ning Fan could not see through Yun Yomu at all. He could only vaguely feel that this person was extremely shrewd but did not follow the rules when doing things. Was the reason why Yun Yomu sent someone to greet him purely to express his goodwill, or was there another reason? Ning Fan withdrew his thoughts and politely cupped his fists at Fang Sheng and Fang Si. No matter what, since they greeted him with a smile, he would not treat them coldly. Ning Fan greets the two palace masters and fellow Taoists of the Serene Heaven Palace. "It has been many years since we last met. How have you been?" He was at most polite to Fang Sheng and Fang Si. However, he felt a sense of closeness towards Yu Bai, Yu Chong, and the others. Yu Chong lowered her head even more. She did not dare to meet Ning Fan's eyes at all. Her cheeks became even hotter. "Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I can't breathe just by looking at him. Am I sick?" "Yes. That must be it." Yu Bai and the others cupped their fists to return Ning Fan's greeting one after another. It was truly an honor to be asked by the dignified Marquis White Robe, "I trust you." Cough cough cough. If Marquis White Robe wants to catch up with your old friends, you can do so later. Why don't you follow us to the Serene Heaven realm first? The Sixth Prince has already set up a banquet with spiritual fruits and spiritual wine in the Serene Heaven Palace. He intends to entertain Marquis White Robe. Now that something has happened to the Scarlet Heaven Palace, it is temporarily uninhabitable. Fellow Taoist, you don't have to rush to the Scarlet Heaven realm. You can stay in my Serene Heaven realm. Fang Xing said. Something happened? What happened? Ning Fan was stunned. It's a long story. If Marquis White Robe wishes to know more, you can head to the Scarlet Heaven territory to have a look. Cough, cough, cough. The Seventh Prince seems to want to give Marquis White Robe a show of strength. Fang Xing replied with a sigh. If that's the case. Since the Scarlet Heaven Palace has encountered an accident, as the Scarlet Heaven Palace Master, I should go to the Scarlet Heaven Palace to see what's going on. I have no choice but to disappoint the two of you and go to the Serene Heaven Palace's banquet in the future. Ning Fan stared at Fang Sheng and Fang Si meaningfully. He had a vague guess in his mind. Since Marquis White Robe insists on going to the Crimson Heaven territory, we won't force you to go to the Nether Heaven territory. If Marquis White Robe encounters any difficulties in the Crimson Heaven territory, you can seek help from the Sixth Prince. The Sixth Prince and Marquis White Robe hit it off the moment they met, and he will definitely do his best to help Marquis White Robe overcome any difficulties. Fang Xing smiled meaningfully. Farewell. Ning Fan cupped his fists at everyone and stepped on a ray of traveling light. He was actually going to enter the Heavenly Cloud Nation alone and head to the Scarlet Heaven territory. He was still wondering why Yun Yomu had specially welcomed him, but now he understood the reason behind it. Yun Yomu was reminding Ning Fan that the Seventh Prince, Yun Jinghong, wanted to target Ning Fan. If Ning Fan wants to deal with the Seventh Prince, he can seek help from Yun Yomu. The Serene Heaven Palace would be Ning Fan's friend. The reason why Yun Yomu showed goodwill to Ning Fan was probably because he was not on good terms with Yun Jinghong. He wanted to use Ning Fan to deal with Yun Jinghong. Is this Yun Yomu's motive? It seems like there are also open and veiled conflicts among the princes of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan's thoughts raced. Just as he was about to leave, Yu Chong boldly rushed out of the crowd and said to him. Ning Fan, you have just arrived at the Heavenly Cloud Nation. You probably don't know the way. Let me bring you to the Scarlet Heaven territory. Chong, The guardian of the Scarlet Heaven territory, Cloud Lion, has all gone out of control. It's very dangerous for you to go there with your current cultivation base. Besides, you don't have Void Refinement Realm cultivation base like Marquis White Robe. Yu Bai's expression was anxious. He tried to dissuade Yu Chong, Yu Chong, however, did not take his advice seriously. She pointed at Ning Fan and said, "He will protect me." Probably, Yu Chong, looked at Ning Fan with uncertainty. Without Ning Fan's protection, she would not dare to go to the Scarlet Heaven territory. All right. I have just arrived at the Heavenly Cloud Nation and I'm unfamiliar with this place. Having Miss Yu to lead the way is naturally the best. Don't worry, brother Yu. With me around, no matter what happens in the Scarlet Heaven territory, your sister will not be harmed at all. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Yu Bai. Then, he displayed his teleportation technique and brought Yu Chong, into the territory of the Heavenly Cloud Nation. Looking at the two of them leaving, Yu Bai shook his head and sighed. Didn't this younger sister of his always hate Ning Fan? Why is she so enthusiastic towards him now? The Scarlet Heaven territory was located in the northwest of the Heavenly Cloud Nation. Ning Fan needed to travel across a few other territories in order to reach the Scarlet Heaven territory. Yu Chong rode on Ning Fan's traveling light as if she was stepping on a black rainbow. She did not dare to raise her head. Her cheeks were burning hot. She would only lift her head and sneak a peek at Ning Fan occasionally when she was guiding him. However, whenever she saw Ning Fan, she would recall the past when she gave him a kiss in the past. In the past, in order to give the blood of an insect sovereign to Ning Fan to heal his injuries, she had given him her first kiss. I must be sick. Otherwise, why would I volunteer to lead the way for him? Am I crazy? The Scarlet Heaven territory is so dangerous and yet I still ran over there. I'm finished. I'm so nervous. What should I say to him? My mind is completely blank now. The way she lowered her head made her look like a frightened ostrich. Ning Fan could not help but find it funny. Was this still the Yu Chong he knew? In his memory, Yu Chong hated devil cultivators to the core. She often mocked and ridiculed him. She even kissed him forcefully and used him as a pillow when she was asleep. Today, however, she was very obedient and quiet. She did not say anything unnecessary. He secretly used the mind-reading technique to read through Yu Chong's thoughts. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. It turned out that Yu Chong did not become quiet. She was just too nervous and did not know what to say to him. Aren't you going to introduce me to the local conditions and customs of the Heavenly Cloud Nation? Ning Fan reminded her. That's right. Let me introduce you to the Heavenly Cloud Nation. It's the capital of the Rain World. In terms of prosperity, none of the 800 cultivation countries in the Rain World can compare to it. Yu Chong nagged and began to introduce the local conditions and customs of the country to Ning Fan. The Heavenly Cloud Nation was a country of clouds and mist. All the palaces and pavilions in the country were built with clouds and mist. Clouds could be seen everywhere in the sky. The entire Heavenly Cloud Nation was enveloped by layers of formation light made of clouds and mist. The formation light was at the peak immortal void realm. Even an ordinary void fragmentation realm cultivator would not be able to break this country's protective cloud formation. This formation is called the Cloud Sea Mist Formation. It is a grand formation that was set up by a certain rain sovereign in the previous generation. It can use the light of the clouds to eliminate enemies. It is said that several 100,000 years ago, millions of bandits attacked the Heavenly Cloud Nation. There were even 3 first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivators among them. In the end, all of them were killed by this formation. Yu Chong explained. When she imagined the scene where millions of people died, she felt a little scared. It can even kill void fragmentation realm cultivators. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the grand formation. Even with his heart formation realm cultivation base, he still could not see through all the changes of this formation. The Heavenly Cloud Nation is divided into 10 territories. Each of them is as big as an entire void grade cultivation country. The cultivators here not only build their houses using clouds but also use them to create escape treasures. In the 10 territories of the Heavenly Cloud Nation, each of them has a 900,000 zhang tall cloud. On the peak of the Cloud Mountain, a branch of the Rain Palace is built. The Heavenly Cloud Nation is very vast. We have just reached the Yang Heaven Realm. As soon as Yu Cheng finished speaking, she pointed to the surroundings. Far away, they could vaguely see a towering cloud mountain. On top of that mountain, a magnificent palace was built. It was the Yang Heaven Palace. Cultivators could be seen everywhere in the sky. Most of them were riding on immortal clouds and using them to escape. Each of those immortal clouds had different colors. Each of them was engraved with cloud patterns. The more cloud patterns there were, the faster they would be able to escape. A 2-mark immortal jade was equivalent to the escaping speed of a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. A 3-mark gold core, a 4-mark nascent soul, a 5-mark immortal cloud was equivalent to the escaping speed of a divine transformation realm cultivator. As for 6-mark immortal clouds, they were very rare. These immortal clouds did not need any magic power to drive them. Without a doubt, they were spiritual equipment. These are the immortal cloud spiritual equipment produced by the Flowing Cloud Valley. It's a technique unique to the Rain world. Cultivators from other worlds often purchase immortal clouds from the Flowing Cloud Valley. Yu Cheng are introduced. The Flowing Cloud Valley of the 13 sets, huh? I wonder if there are any 7 marks immortal clouds for sale there. Ning Fan inquired. A 7 marks immortal cloud should have the speed of a void fragmentation realm cultivator. Moreover, it would not consume any magic power to fly. If he could buy a 7 marks immortal cloud spiritual equipment and refine it into his body, it would be a wonderful thing. TSK. You wish. A 7 marks immortal cloud is a profound divinity spiritual equipment. Even if the Flowing Cloud Valley has such a supreme treasure, they won't be willing to sell it. They won't be able to buy it. Yu Cheng gradually became cheerful and no longer felt nervous. That's really a pity. Ning Fan did not mind it. It was not like he had to buy an immortal cloud. In the past, he had heard that the Rain world was rich in immortal clouds. Today, he finally got to see the scene of tens of thousands of cultivators riding on clouds. If he goes to the Sword world, he should be able to see the scene of tens of thousands of cultivators riding on swords. If he goes to the Tree world, he wondered what kind of scene he would see. Ning Fan's speed was not slow, but the Heavenly Cloud Nation was just too vast. 3 days later, the two of them arrived at the border of the Scarlet Heaven territory. With a beauty accompanying him along the way, he would not feel lonely. As soon as he entered the Scarlet Heaven territory, a group of cultivators flew up and blocked his way. They shouted coldly. Halt your steps. According to the 7th Prince's order, all the Cloud Lions in the Scarlet Heaven territory are now out of control. No one is allowed to enter the Scarlet Heaven territory to avoid being killed by the Cloud Lions. Each of the cultivators in this group had a mid-divine transformation realm cultivation base and above. The leader was a late divine transformation realm cultivator. Each of the cultivators' clothes had a scarlet cloud emblem on it. It was the emblem of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Without a doubt, these cultivators were the members of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Ning Fan stopped and glanced at the Scarlet Heaven territory. He saw hundreds of thousands of stone lion statues flying in the sky that was surrounded by clouds and mist. The chi of these stone lions varied in strength. The weak ones were only equivalent to the harmonious spirit realm, while the strong ones were even at the divine transformation realm. Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and found that there were at least 1,000 divine transformation realm stone lions in the sky above the Scarlet Heaven territory. These stone lions were not living creatures. Instead, they were stone lion puppets that were made from a kind of hard cloud called stone cloud. Ning Fan had once entered the seclusion grounds of the previous rain sovereigns in the Blood Dragon Pool. There were 12 stone lions guarding the entrance, and each of them had void fragmentation realm chi. The stone lions in the Blood Dragon Pool looked similar to the stone lions in this place. However, they were much stronger. Besides, the stone lions in the Blood Dragon Pool must be rooted in the ground and could not move. The stone lions in this place were more like puppets. Even though their limbs were stiff, they could fly and move. So these stone lions are called cloud lions. Ning Fan muttered to himself. Yes. Cloud lions are a secret technique unique to the Rain Palace. There are 2 types of them. One of them is the cloud lion puppet. It can move, but its cultivation base cannot exceed the divine transformation realm. The other type is the cloud lion statue. Even though it can't move, it can step on the ground and is very powerful. I heard that there are several void fragmentation realm cloud lion statues guarding the place where the rain sovereign is in seclusion. Yu Chong looked at the sky with a hint of fear. Hundreds of thousands of stone lions had lost control and were flying in the sky. Once any cultivators enter the depths of the Scarlet Heaven territory, they would join forces to kill them. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed and a cold light flashed across them. Hundreds of thousands of stone lions of the Rain Palace had gone out of control. This could be considered as a major incident, but no one could deal with these stone lions. Even though there were many stone lions, the strongest among them was only at the divine transformation realm. If a true expert were to take action, it would not be difficult for them to subdue all of the stone lions. Was there someone who purposely did not allow anyone to deal with these stone lions? Was he trying to intimidate Ning Fan with these stone lions? Ning Fan smiled disdainfully. Just 1,000 divine transformation realm cloud lions wanted to intimidate him. Yun Jinghong seemed to have underestimated him. Descending from the sky, Ning Fan led Yu Chong and slowly walked into the Scarlet Heaven territory. How dare you? Who are you? How dare you defy the 7th Prince's order and trespass into the Scarlet Heaven territory? Take him down. The group of divine transformation realm cultivators surrounded Ning Fan and spoke arrogantly. Ning Fan did not say much. He just released his baleful chi and immediately dyed the clouds of the entire Scarlet Heaven territory red. At this moment, the Scarlet Heaven territory really turned into a world with a red sky. That baleful chi contained all of Ning Fan's killings in his life. It even contained the baleful chi left behind by Bone Sovereign. At the moment when the baleful chi spread, the group of divine transformation realm cultivators was greatly shocked. They felt a sharp pain in their chests and retreated while coughing out blood. Their faces were filled with shock. Even the cloud lion puppets that were flying in the sky without any spiritual intelligence began to tremble in fear. At this moment, a black crescent mark rose in Ning Fan's left eye. His expression became stern and cold. With just a single gaze, the bodies of the hundreds of thousands of cloud lions that had lost control trembled. They descended to the ground and knelt down respectfully towards Ning Fan. They no longer showed any signs of losing control. The reason why these cloud lion puppets had lost control was because they were secretly attacked by someone. However, with just a single gaze, Ning Fan made all of them return to normal and willingly serve him as their master. Marquis White Robe. The group of divine transformation realm cultivators finally recognized the identity of the intruder from Ning Fan's extremely terrifying baleful chi. Each of them was extremely terrified. On the peak of a mountain far away, a middle-aged man in green robes stood proudly. His body was surrounded by swirling clouds of light. His cold eyes were looking in the direction of the Scarlet Heaven territory. He was the 7th Prince of the Rain Palace, Yun Jinghong. He was the void fragmentation realm expert who guarded the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Originally, he was quietly watching Ning Fan enter the Scarlet Heaven territory, waiting to see the scene where Ning Fan was exhausted from dealing with the hundreds of thousands of cloud lions. Among the hundreds of thousands of cloud lions, there were more than 1,000 divine transformation realm cloud lions. Even a void-pierced stage expert would not dare to recklessly face this army of cloud lions. From Yun Jinghong's point of view, if Ning Fan goes against this army of cloud lions with his low cultivation base, he would certainly be severely injured if not dead. Of course, he would not watch Ning Fan die. After Ning Fan is severely injured, he would take action to protect him from death. Ning Fan still had some value to him. Even though he could not kill him, he could still teach him a lesson. There's no need to watch anymore. This young man has already entered the Scarlet Heaven territory. The hundreds of thousands of cloud lions are fearful of him. He certainly won't be able to escape. Yun Jinghong smiled coldly and closed his eyes in a conceited manner. However, at the next moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and saw a scene that he could not believe. With just a single gaze, Ning Fan made the hundreds of thousands of cloud lions that had lost control return to normal and kneel respectfully on the ground. The cloud lions were just puppets. Their spiritual intelligence was even lower. They would not kneel to anyone at all. Why would they kneel to Ning Fan? Why was Ning Fan able to make all the cloud lions return to normal in just a breath's time? What made Yun Jinghong even more astonished was that the blood-red clouds that covered the sky of the Scarlet Heaven realm were dyed red by Ning Fan's baleful qi. At this moment, Ning Fan, who was standing in the Scarlet Heaven realm, suddenly turned his head and looked at Yun Jinghong coldly. Just a single gaze contained all the killings that Ning Fan had committed in his entire life. Just a single gaze gave Yun Jinghong a sense of danger that he had never felt before. It was as if the young man in front of him was not Ning Fan but a peerless ferocious beast that could tear the void fragmentation realm apart. With just a single gaze, even the heavenly Tao could no longer tolerate the sins that he had committed. Yun Jinghong was caught off guard. When he met Ning Fan's extremely cold baleful gaze, he immediately felt a sharp pain in his chest. His blood and qi were in a mess and he nearly fell off the mountain peak. How is this possible? Why does this young man have such a terrifying baleful qi? Even I can't withstand his aura force. Could it be that he has killed void fragmentation realm cultivators before? No. This is absolutely impossible. There are no void fragmentation realm cultivators who have fallen in the rain world. Besides, void fragmentation realm cultivators are renowned throughout the entire world. How is it possible for him to kill them? He is just an ant. Even though Yun Jinghong's tone was cold, his eyes no longer dared to look in Ning Fan's direction. The pain in his chest gradually intensified. It was actually a sign that his mind was being invaded by the baleful qi. Yun Jinghong no longer dared to stay in this place. He immediately turned into a ray of traveling light and left. He must immediately enter seclusion and erase the baleful qi in his mind to prevent it from being tainted. In the Scarlet Heaven realm, Ning Fan looked at Yun Jinghong's traveling light that was getting further away. He withdrew the baleful qi that filled the sky and his eyes gradually darkened. As expected, it's Yun Jinghong. That Yun Yomu didn't lie to me. Then, he turned his head and said to Yu Chong, with a faint smile. Let's go. Bring me to the Scarlet Heaven Palace. His smile was as warm as the spring breeze. There was not a single trace of baleful qi in his eyes. Oh. Yu Chong, was still covering her lips with her hands. She was still in a state of shock. It had only been more than 10 years since they last met. However, Ning Fan was able to subdue hundreds of thousands of spiritual puppets with just a single gaze. It was just too unbelievable. How did you do it? Yu Chong, asked curiously. It's a secret. If you want to know, come to my room tonight. We can talk in private. Ning Fan teased. TCH, get lost. Yu Chong's pretty face was filled with anger and embarrassment. Her heart was about to leap out from her throat. Go to hell. Go to hell. She would rather die than to be alone with Ning Fan in a room and have a private chat with him. The righteous path and the devil path are irreconcilable, all right? Perhaps. Maybe, just maybe, it doesn't seem too bad to have a private chat with him. If Ning Fan promises not to kiss her. Chapter 544. Ning Fan brought Yu Chong, to the Cloud Mountain of the Scarlet Heaven territory. At the same time, he took out a cloth bag and kept the hundreds of thousands of Cloud Lion puppets. He did not even spare a glance at the cultivators of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. His name was the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. However, everyone in the palace was Yun Jinghong's trusted subordinates. None of them could be used. These puppets could be put to good use. It would be a good choice to leave them to Yu country as guards. At 90,000 zhang high in the sky, the escaping light streaked across the vast sky. Beside their ears was a sea of clouds, while below their feet was a cultivation city the size of an ant. Because the Cloud Lions had gone out of control, all the cultivators in the Scarlet Heaven territory had moved to other countries. The vast territory was slightly desolate and uninhabited. An hour later, a 90,000 zhang tall cloud mountain appeared in front of them. Countless cloud palaces and cloud towers were built on the top of the mountain. Ning Fan kept his escaping light and landed on the peak of the mountain with Yu Chong. They stood outside a giant door. There were 4 large golden words written on the signboard of the door: Scarlet Heaven Cloud Palace. This was the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Due to the chaos caused by the Cloud Lions, no cultivators dared to stay in the palace. All of them had taken refuge in other countries. "We're here." Ning Fan looked at the empty palace with his hands clasped behind his back. Looking at the 90,000 zhang tall sea of clouds, he let out a sigh. At 90,000 zhang tall, red-crowned cranes were flying in the sky. It was as if they could touch the sky just by raising their hands. 50 years ago, when I was still in Wu country, I thought that the 1,400 zhang tall Ningbai mountain was the highest mountain in the world. Now, I'm standing on the 90,000 zhang tall cloud mountain. However, I know that there are countless mountains that are higher than this mountain, at the end of the path of cultivation, who will be the peak. Immortals are people who stand on the mountain. However, I don't know how high the mountain must be in order to see the great Tao of immortality clearly and ascend to immortality in a single step. Yu Chong stood behind Ning Fan and stared at his back. At this moment, she felt that he seemed to have merged with the sea of clouds and his temperament was like an immortal. She was slightly stunned and could not help but look at Ning Fan a few more times. When she realized it, her face turned red and she lowered her head while biting her lips. "Ning Fan, thank you. Previously, in the Blood Dragon pool, I almost lost my life trying to retrieve the Blood Dragon moss. Thank you for saving me. I have brought the Blood Dragon moss back to my clan and fed it to my mother. My mother's illness has been cured. Thank you. I will certainly repay your kindness. I saved you once, and you gave me the heaven-deceiving cloak. You don't owe me anything, so there's no need to repay me. It's a good thing that your mother can recover from her illness. The tree may desire peace, but the wind won't stop. It's a blessing to be able to be filial to your parents while you're still alive. Miss Yu has already sent me to the Scarlet Heaven Palace. Should I return to the Serene Heaven Palace or stay in my Scarlet Heaven Palace for the time being? I have to return to the Serene Heaven Palace, otherwise Big Brother will scold me." Yu Chong stuck out her tongue and chuckled softly. She stomped her foot on the ground, and a 5-veined immortal cloud appeared. "When I think of how to repay you, I'll come find you. I, Yu Chong, never owe anyone a favor. I will definitely repay you to your satisfaction. Is that so? Then I'm looking forward to it." Ning Fan replied with a smile. "Then I'll take my leave first." Yu Chong rode the immortal cloud and left. Her heart actually felt a little reluctant to part with him. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Why am I reluctant to leave? I must be sick. Last time, he asked for my heaven-deceiving cloak. He seems to be very fond of profound divinity spiritual equipment. Why don't I ask my master for a profound divinity spiritual equipment and give it to him as repayment? Ning Fan looked at Yu Cheng's fleeing light and revealed an indescribable smile. He used the mind-reading technique to see through Yu Cheng's thoughts. Is this little girl going to give me a profound divinity spiritual equipment? Then I'm really looking forward to it. He withdrew his gaze, turned around, and walked into the Scarlet Heaven Cloud Palace. There was not a single cultivator in the empty palace. The defensive formation light was still on. As the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace, he had the Palace Lord's token, so he could directly enter the palace. Even though the palace was empty, the chaos caused by the Cloud Lion clan had already been settled. Presumably, all the cultivators who left would return to the Scarlet Heaven territory soon. He did not care whether there was anyone in the palace or not. Even though he was the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace, he did not care about the affairs of the palace at all. The only thing he was concerned about was how much benefits the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace would receive. As far as he knew, each of the Palace Lords of the 9 Great Branch Palaces was in charge of a territory. They could take and use the magic treasures and pills in their territories at will. They could also read the cultivation methods and secret manuals in their territories at will. Even though all the cultivators of the Scarlet Heaven Palace had fled, it was just to show Ning Fan's strength and temporarily leave. The treasury and the scripture pavilion were still there. The treasury and the scripture pavilion were protected by layers of formation light. However, Ning Fan could enter them at will with the Palace Lord's token. Even without the Palace Lord's token, he still had the Wind Mist Finger. What formation light could stop him under the immortal formations? He first entered the treasury of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. To the cultivators of the Scarlet Heaven Palace, all the items in the treasury could be exchanged with contribution points. Every year, the cultivators of the Rain Palace would be given contribution points which could be considered as their salary. If they complete the missions of the Rain Palace, they could obtain additional contribution points. However, Ning Fan, the Palace Lord, did not need to pay any contribution points. He could take and use the treasures in the treasury at will. There were a total of 5 billion immortal jade, 72,000 tufts of spiritual herbs that were 10,000 years old and above, 400 bottles of 5th Revolution pills, 3 bottles of 6th Revolution pills, 4,004 marks immortal clouds, 75 marks immortal clouds, for 6 marks immortal clouds. There were 12,000 magic treasures that were at the nascent soul realm and above. More than 7,000 spiritual equipment that was at the profound jade realm and above, 500 nascent soul realm spiritual puppets, 42 divine transformation realm spiritual puppets and 1 void glimpse stage spiritual puppet. Of course, he would take all of these items away. It was his privilege as the Palace Lord. As for how the divine envoys and revered elders of the palace cultivate after taking these items away, what did it have to do with him? After all, they were all Yun Jinghong's subordinates. When he left the treasury, it was already a little empty. He entered the scripture pavilion. There were many cultivation methods and magic techniques of the Rain Palace in this place. There were also many pill recipes. Ordinary cultivators of the Scarlet Heaven Palace would need to spend contribution points to read them. However, as the Palace Lord, he could read these magic techniques and pill recipes at will. The lowest cultivation method in this place was at the spirit grade while the highest was at the mid-grade mortal void realm. As for pill recipes, the highest was at the mid-grade 6th revolution. Only the main palace of the Rain Palace had pill recipes of higher grades. In order to read the magic techniques and pill recipes of the main palace, even the 9th Palace Lord would have to spend contribution points. Naturally, Ning Fan would not be interested in the low-grade cultivation methods and pill recipes. He only made a copy of all the high-grade jade slips and took them away. The only thing that Ning Fan was slightly interested in was a scroll that introduced how to create a low-grade cloud lion. Just like that, Ning Fan had almost swept through the entire Scarlet Heaven Palace. Giggle. How are you here to be the Palace Lord? You're obviously here to be a bandit cultivator. Do you really want to scrape 3 feet of the ground before you stop? In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu teased him. Scrape 3 feet of the ground. It seems like you're right. The belly of this cloud mountain seems to be empty. I wonder what's hidden inside. Ning Fan smiled disapprovingly. His title as the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace was just an empty title. As long as Yun Jinghong was in the Scarlet Heaven Palace, he would not be able to truly control the palace. So what if he had to scrape 3 feet of the ground? After all, he was going to scrape Yun Jinghong's territory. Ning Fan used his earth escape technique and dived into the belly of the cloud mountain. The belly of the 90,000 zhang tall mountain was hollowed out and built into an extremely spacious palace. Both sides of the mountain walls were embedded with moonlight stones which emitted a faint light to illuminate the place. The palace was surrounded by peak mortal void realm formation lights. Only those with the token of the palace lord could enter this place. Oh. Is this the place where the previous palace lords of the Scarlet Heaven Palace went into seclusion? Ning Fan walked into the palace. There were 49 stone chambers in the palace. In the middle of the main hall stood a gigantic ancient tablet. The ancient tablet was 900 zhang tall. Its entire body was snow white and it emitted an extremely faint cloud light. The 4 corners of the tablet were engraved with mysterious runes. 4 ancient divine characters were written on the surface of the tablet. The Scarlet Heaven Rain Tablet. Ning Fan walked closer to the gigantic tablet. The closer he got to it, the more he could feel the irresistible dampness. His clothes became wet without any reason. That dampness was very familiar to Ning Fan. It was the rain intent realm. However, it was slightly different from the rain intent Ning Fan had comprehended. The cultivation base of the owner of this intent realm was rather terrifying. He had merely carved 4 words on the ancient monument and left behind a trace of intent realm power. It was unknown how many years had passed, but it was still able to render an expert like Ning Fan unable to resist the nourishment of the rain intent. The cultivation of the person who carved this tablet is far above me in the past. Luo Yu said with a solemn expression. When you were at your peak, you should have been a true immortal of the renunciation realm, right? The person who carved the tablet was stronger than you. What level of cultivation did he have? Ning Fan's eyes swept across the stone wall at the side. There were ancient words engraved on the stone wall. It was an introduction to the giant monument. This giant monument was called the Rain Monument. It was left behind by the ancestor of the Rain world, the Rain Ancestor. Each of the 9 great sub-palaces had a rain monument. It was rumored that one of the 9 rain tablets contained a divine art of the Rain Ancestor. The reason why the rain tablets were left behind was to allow the later generations to comprehend this art. Unfortunately, after the Rain Ancestor, no one in the Rain world was able to comprehend this technique. No one has ever learned this technique. How difficult is this technique? Ning Fan's face turned serious and he continued to stare at the stone wall. According to the records on the stone wall, the technique left behind by the Rain Ancestor was called Heaven-Peaking Rain. It was a type of sensing magic technique. The sensing range of a cultivator's spirit sense was limited. However, some secret techniques could extend the range of their spirit sense by tens of times, hundreds of times or even more. In the past, when Ning Fan was in the Sinister Sparrow sect, he accidentally entered the state of the unity of heaven and man and displayed the spirit roaming 10,000 li away technique. Even though he was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, he was able to stretch his spirit sense into an extremely thin thread and extend it out of the rain world and into the northern heaven immortal world. The spirit roaming 10,000 li away technique was an extremely powerful sensing ability. Even the spirit sense of a true immortal realm cultivator might not be able to successfully cultivate this technique. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, he certainly could not display the spirit roaming 10,000 li away technique for the second time. Previously, he had almost died under this technique. In the Star Palace, he was once chased by the realm beast. That realm beast had fused its spirit sense with the world of the entire Star Palace, allowing its spirit sense to spread to every corner of the Star Palace. Even though sensing abilities could not be used to kill people, it was definitely a powerful ability. According to the records on the stone wall, when the rain ancestor was at his peak, he had once entered the northern heaven immortal world. With a technique called the heaven peaking rain, his spirit sense covered countless star regions in the entire northern heaven, shocking several immortal emperors. According to rumors, as long as one successfully cultivates this technique, even if one only has a void refinement realm spirit sense, they would still be able to cover the entire middle state with their spirit sense. The magic technique inherited in the rain monument is actually the heaven peaking rain. The heaven peaking rain allows one to see through the entire northern heaven with a light rain. This is the reason why this technique got its name. It's the technique that made the rain ancestor famous in this generation. Luo, you seem to have heard of this technique before. She was rather shocked. Silly little brother, quickly get closer to the rain monument and send your spirit sense into it. Try and see if you can comprehend this technique. Once you do, it will be extremely beneficial to you. Luo Yu urged. Since the creation of this technique in the rain world until now, no cultivator in the rain world has been able to successfully cultivate it. I don't think I can comprehend it. According to the records on the stone wall, if I fail to comprehend this technique, I will suffer a backlash from the rain monument and my sea of consciousness will be severely damaged. If I fail to learn this technique, I will certainly suffer severe injuries from the backlash. However, if I manage to successfully cultivate this technique, Ning Fan revealed a struggling expression. If he managed to cultivate this technique, with his current level of divine sense, even if he couldn't cover the entire rain world, he would still be able to cover the entire middle prefecture. If he covered the entire middle state with his divine sense, he might be able to find Ning Qian in one go. She was in the middle state. Even if the chance of learning this technique was only 1 in a billion, even if he might be severely injured by the backlash from the rain monument, he did not care at all. Let me see how difficult it is to learn the rain ancestor's divine ability that no one in the rain world can comprehend. Ning Fan took a deep breath and walked to the bottom of the rain monument. Looking at the 900 zhang tall monument, he stopped in his tracks. He closed his eyes and sent his divine sense into the rain monument. An extremely dense divine intent of rain rolled towards his spirit sense. In just an instant, the spirit sense that Ning Fan sent into the rain monument was completely shattered. He felt an intense pain in his sea of consciousness. His chest felt as if it had suffered a heavy blow and he was sent flying several hundred zhang backwards. His body smashed heavily against the stone wall, causing his bones and tendons to break. Did he fail? Luo Yu sighed softly. It seemed like Ning Fan was not fated to learn this technique. She wanted to comfort Ning Fan, but she realized that his current expression was extremely complicated. There was confusion, surprise, astonishment, and even a hint of joy in his eyes. Perhaps I can learn this technique. The reason why no one can learn this technique is not because it is difficult to understand. The biggest reason is that this technique requires one to cultivate the power of the divine, demon, and devil races at the same time in order to use it. The rain ancestor is not a pure divine cultivator. Due to some fortuitous encounters, the rain ancestor's body possesses the power of the 3 races at the same time. The first condition to learn this technique is to fuse magic power, demon power, and devil chi into one. No one in the rain world fulfills this condition. Therefore, since the rain world was established, no one has been able to learn this technique. The reason why I was injured by the rain monument was because the rain intent I comprehended has yet to reach the minimum requirement to practice this technique. The rain intent I comprehended in the past belongs to the divine intent, not the demon intent nor the devil intent. However, the rain ancestor's rain intent contains the divine intent of rain, the rain devil intent and the rain demon intent. This technique is divided into 9 parts. What is inherited in this monument is only one of the 9 parts. Without saying much, he sat cross-legged under the rain monument. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the 99 natal black stars and used their starlight to heal his wounds. 1 day, 2 days. On the 7th day, Ning Fan suddenly stood up. All of his injuries had been healed. He looked at the rain monument and sensed the veins of the rain will on it. After a long silence, he sent out his divine sense into the rain monument again. This time, he was once again sent flying by the rain monument, but he only flew back a few hundred meters before he stabilized his body. The injuries he suffered were not as serious as the first time. Ning Fan did not say anything else. Once again, he sat cross-legged on the rain monument to heal his wounds. This time, the healing process only took 4 days. After his injuries were healed, Ning Fan stood up again and stared at the rain monument in silence for a long time. This time, he was not in a hurry to sink his divine sense into the rain monument. Instead, he closed his eyes to feel the rain intent of the rain ancestor. The divine intent of rain must have a merciful heart, allowing the rain intent to bless all living things. The demonic intent of the rain had to have a bewitching heart, causing the curtain of rain to cover the common people. The demonic rain intent must have the heart to kill, causing the rain to flood into a river. Ning Fan stood in front of the rain monument and carefully sensed it. The battle lasted for 10 days. The aura around his body changed rapidly. Sometimes, he was merciful like a deity, sometimes, he was cold-blooded like a devil, and sometimes, he was as evil as a demon. On the 11th day, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes and sent his divine sense into the rain monument for the 3rd time. This time, he was not repelled by the rain monument. This time, an ancient and vicissitudinous voice resounded in his ears, as if it was imparting the Tao. There is rain in the 9 heavens. My thoughts are connected to a world. The clouds are my eyes and the rain is my thoughts. Heaven and earth are integrated into my heart. This is the reign of heaven peaking. The reign of heaven peaking is divided into 9 heavens. The reign of the 3rd day is called the reign of scarlet heaven. All of a sudden, streams of information flowed into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Luo Yu revealed a faint smile. Ning Fan had actually comprehended the reign of heaven peaking technique, even if what he comprehended was just 1/9 of the complete technique. The corner of Ning Fan's lips curled up slightly. He closed his eyes and stood in the palace at the belly of the mountain. Then, he suddenly formed a series of hand seals. Once, twice, thrice, another half a month passed. He did not know how many times he had performed the finger seals in the belly of the mountain, and he was getting more and more proficient. The cultivators who had left the Scarlet Heaven territory had long since returned. The cultivators of the Scarlet Heaven Palace had already returned and discovered that the treasury had been ransacked. No one expected that Ning Fan would be practicing the rain technique in the belly of the mountain. However, all of a sudden, the Scarlet Heaven territory with a radius of 70 million miles started to rain. That's strange. The Heavenly Cloud Nation is protected by a grand formation. No rainwater can fall into the formation. Why would it suddenly rain in our Scarlet Heaven territory? Countless cultivators were puzzled. Inside the belly of the mountain, Ning Fan's eyes were as deep as a bottomless pond. His hands kept forming hand seals. He was the one who made the rain. His great virtual realm spiritual will could only detect movements within 400,000 li. But at this moment, his eyes seemed to be able to see everything within a 70 million mile radius. All the clouds above the Scarlet Heaven territory were his eyes. The rain that would fall 70 million kilometers in the Scarlet Heaven territory was his will. Even a void fragmentation realm cultivator could only sense 1,000,000 li. However, Ning Fan could clearly sense the scenery within 70 million li. The only flaw of this technique was that after using it once, all of his magic power would be drained. Powerful divine abilities would always consume a lot of magic power. Silly little brother, if you complete this technique, you might even be able to make rain fall in the entire middle state. The rain ancestor's heaven-peering rain is indeed very powerful. Luo Yu praised. Next, I'll go and complete this technique. According to the stone wall, the cultivators of the 9 palaces are not allowed to comprehend the rain steels of the other palaces. If I want to comprehend the rain steels of the other palaces, I must fulfill a precondition. If I defeat the palace lords of the other 8 palaces, I will be able to comprehend the rain steals of the other 8 palaces. I want to learn this technique and spread rain across the entire middle state. Find her. A ray of traveling light rushed out of the belly of the mountain and headed towards the other 8 palaces with an intense battle intent. He wanted to challenge the other 8 palaces with his identity as the Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace. He could only win. Chapter 545. The 4th level of the Heavenly Cloud Realm, Vermilion Heaven Realm. A golden sword light streaked across the sky and sped toward the Cloud Mountain where the Vermilion Sky Palace was located. It was an ancient golden sword. Its speed was almost close to that of a Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. Countless cultivators of the Vermilion Heaven territory looked at the sword light that was as dazzling as the golden sun and were greatly shocked. What shocked them was not only the sword light, but also the person standing on the sword light. A frosty young man stood on the tip of the sword. His clothes were white like snow, his figure was like a mountain, his aura was like the rain, and his gaze was like lightning. His whole body emitted an extremely strong aura, and within that aura was an extremely strong battle intent. Marquis White Robe. This person is Marquis White Robe, I've seen his portrait before. What? This old monster with monstrous battle intent was actually Marquis Ning Fan. Is he going somewhere to fight someone? I don't know, but looking at the direction he's heading to the Cloud Mountain of Vermilion Sky Palace, Vermilion Sky Palace. Why is he going to Vermilion Sky Palace Hall? Ning Fan sped along the way, passing by countless cultivation cities. He did not care about the comments of others. There was only the sound of the wind in his ears and the clouds in front of his eyes. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to defeat the 8 palace masters of the Rain Palace and learn the complete secret technique of the Rain Ancestor. Half a day later, the Cloud Mountains of the Vermilion Heaven territory could be seen in the distance. He withdrew the sword light and the ancient sword. His figure landed on the peak of Cloudy Mountain at an unbelievable speed. The cultivators who were guarding the entrance of the palace were greatly shocked. None of them actually saw how Ning Fan landed on the ground. His movement technique was just too fast. Before the few cultivators of the Vermilion Heaven Palace could see Ning Fan's face clearly, his voice had already resounded in the Cloud Mountain. It was like a sudden clap of thunder, reverberating in the ears of every cultivator of the Vermilion Heaven Palace for a long time. As the Scarlet Heaven Palace Master, I'm here to request to borrow the Rain Viewing Tablet, so I'm here to fight Palace Master Vermilion Heaven. In the belly of Cloudy Mountain, a bald old man was in seclusion. As soon as he heard Ning Fan's words reverberating across the entire Cloud Mountain, his eyes immediately turned cold and he smirked disdainfully. This old man has been cultivating for 7,400 years. There is rarely anyone who is a match for me within the Void Pierce stage. A mere Void Inquiry stage cultivator actually dares to challenge me. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The bald old man sneered. His whole body turned into a gray light and disappeared from the belly of the mountain in an instant. He appeared on the mountain peak. Of course, he had heard all kinds of rumors about Ning Fan. However, if he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not believe it. He did not believe in Ning Fan's remarkable abilities. He only believed in his own strength. He was Palace Master Zhu Tian. His name was Marquis Long Nan, a Void Pierce stage cultivator. Ning Fan. You are not this old man's opponent and do not have the qualifications to look at my Vermilion Sky Palace's rain monument. Quickly retreat. Marquis Long Nan's body was surrounded by earth-shattering lightning. With a shout, his voice transformed into unimaginable airwaves, shattering all the clouds within a 300,000 li radius. Hundreds of divine envoys and revered elders of Vermilion Heaven Palace were at least in the nascent soul or deity transformation realm. But under the imposing aura of Marquis Longnan's voice, none of them could stand firm. The Palace Lord's aura is so strong. Even if the opponent is Marquis White Robe, there's no way he can defeat Hall Master. Palace Master has comprehended the Seven Thunders art during this seclusion and his strength has improved a lot. Marquis White Robe can't withstand Palace Master's lightning of 7 emotions. Layers of chi waves rolled towards Ning Fan. However, when they reached his body, they strangely separated into 2. Ning Fan glanced at Marquis Long Nan and said indifferently, "Your aura can't scare me. Just do it. If you don't do it now, you won't have the chance anymore." Arrogant brat. Marquis Long Nan's expression darkened. It was his first time being looked down upon by a void inquiry stage cultivator. His eyes glowed with 7-colored lightning. He formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and murmured, "The 7 emotions of a human being and the 7 lightnings of nature. The first day is joy, the second day is anger, the third day is worry, the fourth day is thinking, the fifth day is sadness, the sixth day is fear and the 7th day is shock." 7 Thunders art. Marquis Long Nan suddenly raised his hand and waved a 7-colored lightning flag. 7-colored lightning clouds immediately appeared within the 300,000 li. The 7-colored lightning condensed into 7 10,000 zhang lightning fists which blasted towards the mountain peak where Ning Fan was standing. Even an ordinary void-pierced stage cultivator would not be able to withstand the 7 lightning fists. If the 7 lightning strikes, the entire cloud mountain would be destroyed. This is bad. Once the palace lord is enraged, he won't be able to control his strength anymore. Marquis White Robe will certainly be severely injured if not dead. As for our Vermilion Heaven Palace, I'm afraid our Vermilion Heaven Palace will also be destroyed by the fluctuations of the battle. A group of cultivators of Vermilion Heaven Palace was shocked. But a scene that no one had expected happened. Before the 7 lightnings could fall, Ning Fan suddenly stomped on the peak of the mountain. A massive blood-red lightning diagram appeared beneath his feet. All of the 7-colored lightnings were devoured by the lightning diagram. Immediately after, he summoned the 8 black flame wings, took a step forward, and suddenly disappeared without a trace, leaving only a faint shadow of fire. In an instant, Marquis Long Nan felt his scalp go numb and his whole body was filled with a sense of danger. He retreated without the slightest hesitation, and immediately summoned a Sky Xian high-grade armor to protect himself. That was a high-grade profound sky treasure armor. It was strong enough to withstand an ordinary void-pierced stage strike. His retreat was not slow but Ning Fan's speed was even faster. In just the blink of an eye, Ning Fan had already arrived in front of him. Then, he pointed a finger at him. His essence and technique merged into one. The force of his finger was nearly as strong as an absolute void stage attack. Bang! With a loud bang, the heavenly profound treasure armor shattered into pieces. Marquis Long Nan felt a sharp pain in his chest. He coughed out blood and took a few hundred steps back before he managed to stabilize his body. His eyes were filled with shock. He, the dignified palace lord of Zhu Tian, was actually not a match for Ning Fan. Moreover, he could tell that Ning Fan had already shown mercy in that finger attack. Otherwise, he would definitely not have the strength to stand even if he was not dead. Marquis White Robe, stop now. I admit defeat. You have already obtained the right to view the Rain Monument. Now, follow me into the belly of the mountain. Hiss, countless cultivators of the Zhu Tian Palace sucked in a cold breath. The palace lord that they had always been proud of was actually not a match for Ning Fan. Marquis Long Nan, on the other hand, found it hard to calm down. Perhaps, it would leave a shadow in his heart for the rest of his life. Forget it. This person's strength is terrifyingly strong. I'm afraid his strength is already close to an absolute void stage cultivator. I'm definitely not a match for him. There's no need for me to fight him to the death. I'll just let him view the Rain Monument. After all, no one has ever been able to comprehend this Rain Monument. Moreover, if he can't, he will certainly be injured by the rebound of the Rain Monument. The 2 of them entered the palace inside the mountain. Ning Fan stood in front of the Rain Monument of the Zhu Tian Palace and spread his spirit sense into it. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, he turned around and left without hesitation, leaving Marquis Long Nan, who was filled with astonishment. Why wasn't he sent flying by the rain monument? Logically, any cultivator who tries to comprehend the rain ancestors' technique would be sent flying by the rain monument. Could it be that there's something wrong with the rain monument? Marquis Long Nan spread his spirit sense into the rain monument with an inquisitive mind. At the next moment, a blood-curdling scream resounded in the palace inside the mountain. The rain monument isn't broken. Marquis Long Nan's face was as pale as paper. He was almost killed by the rain monument. Damn it! Damn it! Why was Ning Fan not sent flying but I, Marquis Long Nan, was sent flying? Could it be that Ning Fan had comprehended the inheritance of the rain ancestor? Stop joking. How is that possible? In the 150 million years since the establishment of the rain world, no one had ever comprehended this technique. He would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. The fifth level of the heavenly cloud realm, the heavenly formation realm. Ning Fan stepped on a golden sword light and flew towards the heavenly formation realm's cloud mountain. It had been a day since he defeated Marquis Long Nan. In just one day, the news of him defeating Marquis Long Nan with a single finger spread like wildfire. When the heavenly formation realm cultivators saw Ning Fan entering the heavenly formation realm, all of them were astonished. Ning Fan was not only going to defeat Marquis Long Nan alone. Judging from the situation, he was also going to challenge the other 8 palace lords from the Scarlet Heaven Palace to the Heavenly Cloud Country. His goal seemed to be the rain ancestors' monument that no one could comprehend. TSK. I didn't expect this Marquis White Robe to be so strong. He could actually defeat Marquis Long Nan with a single finger. However, is he really going to challenge the other 8 palace lords? Rumor has it that the reason why Marquis White Robe fought Marquis Long Nan was because he wanted to see the rain ancestors' monument. The rain ancestors' technique is recorded in the rain monument. However, it is impossible for anyone to comprehend this technique. In my opinion, this Marquis White Robe's intention to see the rain monument is fake. His real intention is to find an excuse to challenge the 8 palace lords to establish his prestige. Establish his prestige? It is said that Marquis White Robe's true cultivation base is only at the void inquiry stage. Can he really defeat the 8 palace lords? Every time Ning Fan flew past a cultivation city, it would raise a discussion among the cultivators there. His traveling light did not slow down at all. When he saw the cloud mountain from afar, he kept his ancient sword and appeared at the peak of the sea of clouds in a flash. He stood in the sky outside the heavenly formation palace. I want to borrow the rain monument to have a look. Humph. If you want to see the rain monument, you have to defeat me first. An elderly man in yellow robes seemed to have been waiting for a long time. With a flash of yellow light, he flew to the sky from the cloud mountain and stood opposite Ning Fan on the sea of clouds. That elderly man in yellow robes was called Huang Gu. He had the chi of a void-pierced stage expert. The magic power around his body turned into yellow maple leaves. He was none other than the palace lord of the heavenly formation palace. Huang Gu waved his hand and a dark yellow flag appeared in his palm. This flag of mine is called the green maple flag of Imu. After being refined by my primordial spirit flame for more than 1,000 years, its power is unfathomable. Even a void-pierced stage expert might not be able to withstand it. You won't be able to. Is that so? Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. Humph. Since you don't know what's good for you, I won't show you any mercy. Wood Dragon, appear. Huang Gu's magic power shook. His aura force shattered the sea of clouds within several 100,000 li. Then, he waved the green maple flag of Imu. As his magic treasure shook, the shadows of countless yellow maple leaves appeared within several 100,000 li, condensing into a dark yellow wood dragon that was 7,000 zhang in size. The eyes of the wood dragon flashed with ferocious light. It opened its mouth and breathed out a gigantic yellow light pillar at Ning Fan. The yellow light pillar was extremely fast. Wherever it passed through, the vast sky would crumble. Its destructive power was extremely strong. It was even slightly stronger than Marquis Long Nan's 7 lightning technique. Ning Fan did not even look at the yellow light pillar. He touched his glabella and took out the Separation Slayer sword. He raised his hand and slashed the yellow light pillar vertically into 2. Then, he kept the Separation Slayer sword. His black hair danced wildly in the wind. His 10 fingers suddenly formed a series of hand seals and his eyes glowed with black flames. At the moment he made the hand seals, circles of gigantic black fire rings appeared with the wood dragon as the center. There were a total of 216 layers of the Sea of Fire rings. The entire Sea of Clouds was engulfed by the Sea of Fire. When the hollow eyes of the wood dragon came into contact with the black flames, it actually revealed a human-like expression of fear. The fire dragon let out a miserable shriek. In just an instant, it was burned into ashes by the black flame ring. With a cracking sound, a crack appeared on the treasure flag in Huang Gu's hand. It actually seemed to have suffered a heavy injury along with the destruction of the wood dragon. Before Huang Gu had the time to feel sorry for his natal magic treasure, the 9 black fire dragons from the Sea of Fire were already charging towards him. The black fire dragon was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, the Sea of Fire had already engulfed Huang Gu. Ah! In the Sea of Fire, Huang Gu screamed and fell out of the Sea of Fire like a kite with a broken string. He fell into the Sea of Clouds and landed heavily on the peak of the Cloud Mountain, creating a huge pit. Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed all the black flames into his stomach. Then, he landed on the Cloud Mountain of the Achievement Heaven Palace and calmly looked at Huang Gu, who was coughing out blood non-stop in the huge pit. I have already shown mercy. Otherwise, you would have died in the Sea of Fire. Cough cough cough. This old man thanks Hall Master Ning for showing mercy. I'll bring Hall Master Ning to see the Rain Monument now. Huang Gu crawled up from the ground, still fearful of the power of the black flames. Even though he had fallen into the Sea of Clouds in a disheveled manner just now, he realized that his injuries were not serious after examining his body. Of course, it was because Ning Fan had been merciful. Even though Huang Gu was arrogant, he would not be ungrateful. He immediately led Ning Fan into the belly of the mountain to see the Rain Monument. Hiss! All the revered elders and divine envoys of Achieving Heaven Palace were dumbfounded. They all knew that their palace lord was strong, especially the green maple flag, which was extraordinarily powerful. However, he was defeated by Ning Fan in just a single round. Initially, they did not believe the rumor that Ning Fan had defeated Marquis Long Nan with a single finger. Now, it seemed like the rumor was indeed true. Ning Fan's combat power was already earth-shattering. Perhaps he had already reached the Void Pierce stage. Unrivaled among Void Pierce stage experts. Other than the 3 palace lords of the Serene Heaven Palace, the Great Heaven Palace and the Vast Heaven Palace, who else could fight against him? If Marquis White Robe can defeat the 8th Palace Master by himself, the Scarlet Heaven Palace will become the #1 palace among the 9. Chi! A golden sword light rushed out of the belly of the cloudy mountain, ignoring everyone's surprise, and flew all the way to the Serene Heaven Palace. The 6th level of the Heavenly Cloud Realm. Nether Heaven Realm. Inside the remote Heaven Realm, Feng Xing stood proudly at the peak of the cloudy mountain. His body was emitting an unrivaled aura force of the Void Pierce stage, waiting for a battle with Ning Fan. He knew that Ning Fan would come. In the past, when he was in Song Country, he deeply regretted not having a battle with Ning Fan. Today, he would make up for that regret and determine the victor of the battle with him. 10 years ago, even though he was barely defeated and died, his strength should still be slightly weaker than mine. 10 years later, will this young man be able to fight me equally? At this moment, the entire Heavenly Cloud Country was in an uproar. Countless cultivators had already rushed to the remote Heaven Realm, waiting to watch the battle between the Palace Master of the Scarlet Heaven Palace and the Palace Master of the Serene Heaven Palace. Under the anticipation of countless cultivators, a golden sword light arrived at the cloudy mountain of the serene heaven palace. Ning Fan stepped on the ancient golden sword and flew across the sea of clouds. He stared at the cloudy mountain coldly and his battle intent soared to the sky. Fang Sheng, fight me. Chapter 546. Fang Sheng, fight me. At the moment when Ning Fan arrived, a heavy aura force which was like the arrival of a storm fell on the entire cloud mountain. All the cultivators in the vicinity of the cloud mountain, regardless of their cultivation base, felt their breathing becoming sluggish. They could barely withstand Ning Fan's powerful aura force. Yu Chong looked up at the sea of clouds and stared in disbelief at the white-clothed youth standing coldly on the ancient golden sword. At this moment, Ning Fan was no longer as easygoing as he was in the past. His eyes were filled with conviction, the conviction to sweep through the 8 palaces. At this moment, Ning Fan was just like the time when he fought in the Blood Dragon Pool in the past. His aura force was unstoppable. Did Marquis White Robe challenge the other 8 palace masters to comprehend the Rain Monument or to establish his might? Yu Bai pondered deeply. No, none of them. He must have an extremely important reason to defeat all 8 of them alone. Yu Chong muttered to herself. The eyes of all the revered elders of the Serene Heaven Palace were filled with respect. None of the Divine Transformation Realm cultivators present could resist Ning Fan's aura force. All of them were suppressed by his aura force and could not move at all. Revered Snow couldn't do it. The ugly man Yunlai couldn't do it. Divine Messenger Yunquang, who was just a nascent soul realm cultivator, naturally couldn't do it either. He was directly suppressed to the ground by Ning Fan's aura force. In the past in Great Jin, Yunquang had repeatedly made things difficult for Ning Fan for Yin Suchio's sake. However, Ning Fan had destroyed his Dao heart. 50 years had passed and Yunquang's cultivation was unable to advance. He had failed to break through the bottleneck time and time again. During the last attempt, his eyes were destroyed by the heavenly tribulation. 50 years ago, he was a nascent soul-old monster and Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit ant. 50 years later, just a trace of Ning Fan's chi would be enough to make him unable to stand. Compared to him, I, Yunquang, am nothing. I'm just an ant. I'm just an ant. Yunquang laid on the ground, feeling disheartened. Ning Fan stood on the clouds and kept his ancient sword. He did not even look at Yunquang. Back then, this person was inferior to him, and now, he was even more inferior. His gaze was only focused on Fang Sheng, waiting for him to accept the challenge. You have defeated Marquis Long Nan and Huang Gu consecutively. I'm afraid that you already possess unrivaled combat strength of a void-pierce stage expert. Let me see if you can fight against me equally. Chi! Fang Sheng's old eyes flashed, and his body turned into a snow-white escape light. In an instant, he appeared at the top of the sea of clouds. His aura was like a violent gale, and his white robe fluttered. He activated his magic power and an ocean of void appeared beneath his feet. Standing in the sea of void, Fang Sheng's magic power seemed endless. He raised one of his fingers. The tip of his finger shone with an extremely dazzling cloud light. He pressed his finger down at Ning Fan and shouted coldly. Cloud Dragon Art. As soon as the cloud light dispersed, millions of white clouds suddenly appeared around Ning Fan. Each of the white clouds had a ghost face which was grinning hideously. The millions of ghost faces swallowed the clouds and mist at the same time. In just a moment, all of Ning Fan's aura force was devoured. Traces of magic power even flowed out of Ning Fan's body and were devoured by the ghost faces. Ning Fan could feel that the magic power in his body was temporarily draining away. His eyes turned slightly cold and he tried to burn the clouds and mist in the sky with his devil flames. However, as soon as he activated the demonic fire, his magic power flowed even faster. Even his essence chi began to flow away. Moreover, Ning Fan had a feeling that this ghost-faced cloud could devour most magical techniques. Even the black flame couldn't hurt it. Fang Sheng's magical technique was very strange. This is a peak mortal void realm magical technique, the Cloud Dragon Art. A divine transformation realm venerated elder regained his mobility and exclaimed in shock. Hall Master Fang Sheng had used this technique to drain the magic power of a few Void Pierce stage cultivators. Once this technique is activated, Marquis White Robe's magic power will be completely devoured by the ghost-faced cloud in just a short while. This ghost-faced cloud can devour magic power. All magic attacks will be absorbed by this cloud. It is said that only cultivators who cultivate a special sense can resist this cloud. Once Marquis White Robe loses his magic power, he won't be a match for Hall Master Fang Sheng no matter how strong he is. The discussions on the Cloud Mountain entered Ning Fan's ears. In just a few breaths' time, 70% of his magic power and essence chi had been consumed by the ghost-faced cloud. He looked at the cloud of ghost-faced cloud in the sky. His eyes suddenly flashed with determination and he released his sword sense. In the sea of clouds, a drop of thick ink spread in the vast sky. In an instant, it turned into an ink-colored sword light that blotted out the sky and the sun, destroying countless ghost-faced clouds and mist. Sword sense, huh? As expected, I can't defeat you with the Cloud Dragon Art. Fish net of creation. When Fang Sheng saw that his Cloud Dragon Art was broken, he was not too surprised. It was already a good result to be able to consume 70% of Ning Fan's magic power with this technique at the very beginning. At this moment, Fang Sheng already had the confidence to win. He pointed his finger at Ning Fan. Traces of white magic power shot out from his finger and interweaved into a gigantic fishing net. He raised the fishing net in the sky and it instantly multiplied into tens of thousands of pieces. Tens of thousands of fishing nets flew toward Ning Fan at the same time. The lines of the fishing net were extremely tough. Even a Void Pierce stage attack would not be able to destroy it. Even 10 years ago in Song Country, Ning Fan, who had yet to gather all the heavenly frost earth flames, could not destroy this fishing net with his yin-yang flame. Even an absolute void stage attack might not be able to destroy this fishing net. Besides, Fang Sheng did not think that Ning Fan, who had lost most of his magic power, would be able to cast a magic technique on the scale of the absolute void stage with just 30% of his magic power. You have lost. Don't worry. I will only use the fishing net to wrap you up. I won't hurt you. However, since you can't defeat me, you won't be able to comprehend anything under the Rain Monument. It's still too early for you to defeat me with your Void Inquiry stage cultivation base. Is that so? All of a sudden, Ning Fan took a step in the sky. The vast sky shattered, revealing a boundless hollow space. He grabbed the ground and extracted the 400,000 li of the Earth Soul. Then, he grabbed the void space and extracted the 400,000 li of the Void Soul. Then, he opened his mouth and swallowed the Earth Soul and the Void Soul into his abdomen. 10 million units of magic power were added to his body out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's aura force rose steadily. The magic power in his body instantly reached 18.2 million units. His magic power was even denser than Fang Sheng's soul extraction technique. Moreover, it's actually the second level of the void soul extraction technique. Fang Sheng's eyes turned pale with fright. The soul extraction technique was one of the 3 void fragmentation realm divine abilities. However, not all void fragmentation realm old monsters knew this technique. Besides, the Rain Sovereign was the only one who could cultivate the soul extraction technique to the second level in the entire Rain world. Ning Fan was actually the second cultivator in the Rain world who could extract the void soul extraction technique. Incinerate. Ning Fan pointed a finger at the sky above his head, pointing at the tens of thousands of fishing nets of fortune. Black flames spread across the sea of clouds. 9 unrivaled black fire dragons rushed out of the sea of flames. They breathed out flames, burning the fishing nets into ashes with ease. 10 years had passed and he had already obtained 24 types of heavenly cold earth flames. The destructive power of his devil flames was comparable to a high-grade 7 spirit fire. If this fishing net is cast by a void fragmentation realm cultivator, Ning Fan might not be able to destroy it. However, if it is cast by Fang Sheng, it would be a different story. What? Fang Sheng was shocked once again. The fishing nets of fortune were a supreme secret technique that the sixth prince had given him. However, they were all burned into ashes by Ning Fan's black flames. What kind of spirit fire is that? Does the rain world have such a high grade of spirit fire? Before he could recover from the shock, his back suddenly broke out in cold sweat. The 9 fire dragons turned their heads towards Fang Sheng at the same time. Their eyes were filled with bloodthirstiness. These 9 black dragons were transformed from a high-grade 7 spirit fire. Even the void fragmentation realm cultivators in the rain world did not have such a high grade of flame. Ning Fan cast the black flames with his magic power, which was close to that of an absolute void stage cultivator. Even an absolute void stage cultivator would not be able to withstand the burning of the fire dragons. The 9 fire dragons rushed towards Fang Sheng, bringing along a sea of flames which engulfed him. In just a few breaths, Fang Sheng fell out of the sea of flames, falling from the sky and landing heavily on the peak of Cloud Mountain, just like Huang Gu. Ning Fan did not say much. He swallowed the black flames and landed on the peak of Cloud Mountain. Fang Sheng got up from the huge pit. He looked at Ning Fan with a complicated expression and said with a sigh. I lost. Fang Sheng knew that Ning Fan had already shown him mercy. Otherwise, with Ning Fan's terrifying magic power after using the soul extracting technique, the might of such a high-grade black flames was definitely not something that he, Fang Sheng, could withstand. Other than absolute void stage cultivators, no one could withstand the might of Ning Fan's black flames. Marquis White Robe, follow me. I will bring you to the belly of the mountain to comprehend the rain monument of the Serene Heaven Palace. Ning Fan did not say much and followed Fang Sheng into the belly of Cloud Mountain. The cultivators in the entire Cloud Mountain, including those at the Serene Heaven Realm and those at other cultivation levels, were all silent. The Serene Heaven Palace has also been defeated. Only the Great Heaven Palace and the Great Heaven Palace can withstand Marquis White Robe's sharpness. In my opinion, even the Great Heaven Palace might not be able to defeat Marquis White Robe. After all, that Palace Master of the Great Heaven Palace is merely an unrivaled Void Pierce stage expert. I'm afraid that only Palace Master Hao Tian can defeat him. After all, that Palace Master Hao Tian is an absolute Void stage expert. Chi. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Fan flew out of the belly of the mountain and headed to the next realm. Along the way, he consumed medicinal pills to recover his dermic power. 3 days later, he arrived at the profound heaven realm. The 7th stage of the heavenly cloud realm, the mysterious heaven realm. 3 days ago, countless cultivators had already heard the news of Palace Master Yu Tian's defeat. One by one, they rushed to the mystic heaven mirror with the help of various teleportation arrays in the heavenly cloud nation, waiting to see another big battle. At this moment, none of the cultivators doubted Ning Fan's determination to challenge the 8 palaces. Be it comprehending the rain monument or establishing his prestige and fame, the reason why Ning Fan challenged the 8 palaces was not what the crowd was concerned about. Everyone just wanted to know if Ning Fan could defeat the other 8 palace masters with his own strength and become the champion of the 9 palaces. Chi. A ray of golden sword light flew across the sea of clouds and landed on the peak of the profound heaven palace. Ning Fan was standing on the clouds, overlooking the profound heaven palace on the mountain. This profound heaven palace was a branch palace of the Rain Palace's 3rd prince, Yun Bushu. In the Rain world, the profound heaven palace was the only branch palace that had a good relationship with the Great Heaven Palace. In the Rain world, the only prince who had a life and death friendship with Yun Tianjue was Yun Bushu. Ning Fan sighed. He already knew that he was the son of Yun Tianjue. Logically speaking, it was not appropriate for him to challenge the palace master of the profound heaven palace and humiliate him. However, In order to obtain the complete rain technique and to search for his mother in the entire middle state, he had no choice but to fight. He closed his eyes indifferently and said with a clear voice. Ning Fan has no intention of becoming enemies with the Profound Heaven Palace. It's just that in order to borrow the rain viewing monument, I have no choice but to fight the Palace Master of the Profound Heaven Palace. Please forgive me, Palace Master. Cough cough. Marquis White Robe, you must be joking. How would I dare to fight Marquis White Robe? I admit defeat. An elderly man wearing bright yellow dragon robes cupped his fists at Ning Fan's direction and admitted defeat on the peak of the mountain. This person had white hair and a pale face. He had an awe-inspiring aura and a domineering king chi. However, his cultivation base was just at the void glimpse stage. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. He had met this person once before. In the past, when he was in the external Endless Sea, he killed revered Flame and offended the Rain Palace. However, he was recommended by 2 Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace to be a revered elder of the Rain Palace. Luo Jun was promoted from a low-grade Palace Master to the Palace Master of the Profound Heaven Palace, one of the 9 palaces, with the credit of finding the inextinguishable fire body. Yun Bushu, who guarded the Profound Heaven Palace, was known as the Free Cloud Prince. As for Luo Jun, he was also a person without great ambitions. He only wanted to spend his days in the Profound Heaven Palace without any intention of competing with others. Originally, he wanted to live a leisurely life as the Palace Master of the Profound Heaven Palace, hoping to break through to the Void Inquiry stage while he was still alive. Who would have thought that the dignified Marquis White Robe would actually challenge a mere Void Glimpse stage cultivator like him? How would he dare to accept the challenge? Even Marquis Long Nan, Huang Gu, and Fang Shen were defeated by Ning Fan in a row. He was just a Void Glimpse stage cultivator. He probably could not even withstand a single finger attack from Ning Fan. I admit defeat. Marquis White Robe, you can follow me into the mountain and look at the rain viewing monument. Alright. Ning Fan nodded his head. He kept the ancient sword and descended on the peak of Cloud Mountain. He was also unwilling to bully a Void Glimpse stage cultivator of the Profound Heaven Palace with his powerful cultivation base and become enemies with Yun Bushu. The 2 of them entered the belly of the mountain, and the entire mysterious Heaven Cloud Mountain was filled with emotions. I didn't expect that the dignified Palace Master Mysterious Heaven would admit defeat directly. However, this is a wise move. With his cultivation base, he's definitely not a match for Marquis White Robe. Sigh. We've come to the Profound Heaven Realm but we don't have the chance to participate in the Void Refinement Realm. What a pity. It's better for us to quickly find the teleportation formation and head to the next realm and wait for Marquis White Robe's arrival. On top of the cloudy mountain, a handsome young master sighed with emotion. He was a heaven's pride of the mysterious Heaven Palace, the adopted son of Yun Bushu, Yun Niansu. The #1 genius of this generation in Rain Immortal World is none other than him. Ning Fan, huh? I, Yun Niansu, am not as good as him, but I don't understand why foster father wants to see him. Inside the belly of the mountain, Ning Fan followed Luo Jun across the formation light and entered the palace. Then, they walked straight towards the main hall. Luo Jun smiled apologetically along the way. He could not afford to offend a heaven-shaking figure like Ning Fan. The 9,000 feet tall monument of the Rain Ancestor emitted the intent of rain that moistened everything. Luo Jun pointed at the monument and introduced it. Hee hee. Marquis White Robe, please take a look. This is the rain monument of my Profound Heaven Palace. Marquis White Robe, you must be careful when you're comprehending the rain monument. Don't get hurt by the tremors of the monument. Third Prince. Luo Jun was halfway through his sentence when he was suddenly startled. He immediately cupped his fists and saluted. Behind the monument, a young man in ragged clothes who looked like a beggar slowly walked out. His hair was messy like grass and his beard was unkempt. However, his appearance was extremely handsome and manly. His expression was carefree and unrestrained, as if nothing in the world was enough to make him worry. He did not reveal any of his chi. Other people would not know what his cultivation base was exactly. However, Ning Fan could sense a vast aura force from his body which was comparable to a second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. He was the third prince of the Rain Palace, Yun Bushu. Oh my, we meet again. When we met in the Sinister Sparrow sect in the past, you were just a tiny harmonious spirit realm cultivator. I didn't expect that you would actually reach this level after 50 years. That's right. I don't have a good memory. What's your name again? Sue. Sue, it's Marquis White Robe. Luo Jun reminded him softly. Yes. It's Sue. Sue. Sue what? Oh my, I forgot again. Forget it. My memory is getting worse every day. It's very difficult for me to remember anything. Yun Bushu patted his forehead and laughed. He was still as straightforward as he was in the past. When his unruly eyes fell upon the blue jade on Ning Fan's neck, he suddenly froze. The blue bridge jade? This jade is really in your hands. Good boy. I can't believe I was deceived by you in the past. Yun Bushu withdrew all of his smiles and revealed a serious expression. With a wave of his hand, a gust of wind directly rolled Luo Jun up and sent him out of the mountain. I have something to ask you. Where did this jade come from? Yun Bushu stood with his hands clasped behind his back. There was no longer a hint of playfulness on his face. Ning Fan looked at Yun Bushu indifferently. He was not afraid at all. He was also not surprised that Yun Bushu could recognize this jade. When he peeped into Yun Ruo's mind that day, he already knew that this jade was the Blue Bridge Jade. Even though the Blue Bridge Jade was an ancient item, it had no other use other than to pledge their love to each other. In the past, Yun Tianjue and Ning Qian had pledged their love to the Blue Bridge Jade. No one else knew about this. In other words, those who knew the meaning of this jade were not outsiders. In the past, Yun Bushu's purpose in searching for this jade in Yu country was different from the Rain Sovereign's. The Rain Sovereign was looking for someone who could threaten his life, but Yun Bushu was looking for the wife and son of an old friend. Yun Ruo was not an outsider and neither was Yun Bushu. In Yun Ruo's mind, Yun Bushu and Yun Tianjue had been through life and death together. I can tell you the origin of this jade. However, I want to know why Yun Tianjue lost his memory and why Ning Qian went missing. Ning Fan's eyes were also unusually serious. Even if Yun Bushu did not come to him today, he would find an opportunity to do so. The reason why he fought the 8 palaces alone was to comprehend the Rain Ancestors' technique and find his mother's whereabouts. Other than finding his mother's whereabouts, he also wanted to know the truth of what happened in the past. Who was the one who drained his bloodline and caused Ning Qian's life and death to be unknown? You really are their child. As soon as Yun Bushu heard Ning Fan's question, he immediately seemed to have confirmed something. His face revealed a half-happy and half-sad expression. He was happy because he found Ning Fan. He was sad because he could hear the hidden meaning in Ning Fan's words. Ning Fan did not know Ning Qian's whereabouts. He also did not know the truth of what happened in the past. I'm not too clear about what happened in the past. In fact, I should say that no one in the Rain world knows about it. No one knows how Ning Qian went missing. However, I saw with my own eyes why Big Brother lost his memory. On that day, I saw a ray of 7-colored light soaring into the sky. Within the light, there was the figure of an elderly man. He was the one who erased Big Brother's memory. Yun Bushu's face was filled with rage. He had never hated anyone so much before. However, that mysterious 7-colored elderly man was definitely someone he must hate. The 4th prince of the Rain Palace, who has already perished, is also with the 7-colored old man. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.